Hello. I am setting up to make sure that I'm streaming correctly, but I'm theoretically audible now. And so, hello. I don't think anyone will join before I link this in the stream chat. No one ever does. Let me tag the vape enthusiast role. I vape. I need to actually copy this in. Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to doing this stream in particular for a very, very long time. I've been waiting quite a while for this, and so I'm very excited to do it. Okay, people will probably filter in now. Hey, John Jaded. Hello, hello. Yeah, no, I have been very excited for this stream in particular for quite a while. Sorry for any drinking noises you hear. In preparation of the fact that this might take longer than expected, because I have no idea how long this is going to take, because I have not done any real Mariko trustzone reversing. I made myself a cup of coffee, and so I'm kind of drinking that right now. But yes, this stream in particular is going to be the good one. It's the one I've been waiting to do for a long time. LOL. Hedgeberg asked me to share a voice call with her. I would be happy to. Yes, don't worry. To everyone watching, I vape enthusiastically. I vape. I will message Hedgeberg saying that I'm happy to have her in the call if she wants. Let me do that. We'll get started in a minute. I've been really looking forward to this for a long time, and I am very eager to do this. Do you ever just eat icing out of the fridge? No, but I don't have icing. I do eat ice cream out of the carton, which is, I think, a lot like that. Okay. Maybe Hedgeberg will join us, maybe not. Caffeine vape. Truly. No. Okay, let us get started. I don't mean anything by it, palindromic breadloaf. It is just a statement that you may take however you choose. Okay. My pronouns are he, him, his, Kitlith, although I appreciate it. So, the big ticket item tonight is that we have been unable to access for like forever the Mariko package 1 binaries, and we now live in a society where that is not true. I posted a new hack tool release earlier today. GitHub hack tool. So if you are playing along at home, this is now a thing. I added support for decrypting the new package 1 binaries to hack tool. And so now if I go in here, previously I've only ever been able to look at this NX folder, which is for the Arista. And now, if I go ahead... Oh, Hedgeberg is calling me. Join the call. Hey, Hedgeberg. Let me turn on the desktop audio for you, because I think that's not a thing. I don't know. I can't hear you at the moment, and I'm not sure if you're saying words. Pulse audio is not working for her. Okay. Well, Hedgeberg will be joining us in a little bit. But in the meantime, if we do hack tool... package one here, we can see it's actually printing info now, and then if I do --outdir here, it will actually save finally the decrypted Mariko firmware, which I have wanted to sometimes I'm problems with the audio on Linux. Yeah, me too. This is why I use Windows. We finally have the decrypted Mariko firmware, which I am very, very, very excited about. So I have no idea what we're doing. No idea what we're doing at all. Probably the Mariko trustzone starts at 20,000, but we can verify that by hand. And we are just going to kind of dive straight in, because I actually have no idea what I'm doing now. I've never done this before. Now I want the OEM bootloader. So a little guide on what these files are. The raw package 1 binary, Mariko adds this 0x170 byte header to bootloaders. Instead of storing the signature for the bootloader in the BCT, where it was on Arista, The signature is now stored inline, and then this is a version which is checked against the BCT, a size, a load address, and an entry point. Hello, Mr. Russian person whose text I can't read. It's nice to see you too. Yes, also me, whatever you are saying, I vape. And so for convenience, because we actually only care about the data that's loaded, I also... I might just resize the VM, it's fine. I now have the actual output, have an option for only outputting this so that I can load it directly. But okay, let's check this. Yeah, okay, it's at the same location. I vape. Cool. So let's get straight to business. I'll let Hedgeberg know to let me know when it's working. Your audio is working. Happy to have you. Okay, type that out. We are doing the thing. Okay. Yeah, I still don't read Cyrillic text, so that's not an option. I can't use my loader because it's definitely going to be broken on Mariko. Let's load this into iRAM. 64-bit mode, yes. And then let's edit the segment the way that we used to do when we were doing this by hand the classic way, which was PKI1 identity. Edit segments. We labeled it as RWX. View, subviews, segments. I know, right? I am finally glad to be a person who is comfortable telling people that I vape. I think it's really meaningful. 40,000, 64-bit, and it is read and execute. Okay. I'm gonna leave it as unknown so it doesn't like assume things yet, but it's in practice. Read, write, execute. Yep. Okay. I don't mind the Russian text in my stream chat. Just try not to like drown out English text if possible. That would be excellent. Hey, okay, I can finally hear Hedgeberg. I don't know that the audio is on. Could you say something? I can hear you. Let me...
No, you can hear me, but I'm talking to everybody else.
Okay, I'm adjusting your audio now. Thank you. Me too.
So, how does it sound on my end? Because my stream box is now actually sounding very loud.
Your voice is very crisp. I would compare it to like a Fuji apple, not quite a Pink Delicious, but definitely not a Granny Smith either.
That's a very opaque metaphor.
I specialize in opaque metaphors.
You do, but that one's especially opaque. I can't...
Okay.
I'm really trying to evaluate that, and I really can't.
Thank you. That means I did my job. Are you up to date on what we're doing tonight?
I have no idea. I didn't even know that, like, I was just planning to stream to get things set up, and,
So we dumped the keys for Mariko, like, 2 days ago, question mark? I think on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I tweeted then that I would stream myself reversing Mariko Trustzone.
Right, yeah, okay. Now it's all coming back.
Tonight and tomorrow. So I'm doing that tonight, and my plan is for us to just finally go through and produce a fully labeled Trustzone database for Mariko.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no,
In the meantime, Go ahead.
Say whatever you're going to say.
No, I still have to go ahead and actually get my stream running, so...
I'm really looking forward to you streaming again. It'll be nice. I'll be happy to drop in on those.
It's also going to be really nice that I can actually like reboot my physical machine and not have to worry about things screwing up. Hopefully, like
that will also be nice.
I reached a point where I couldn't keep doing streaming and dealing with all of the technical issues that came from streaming on the machine that I was developing on.
Yeah, I understand. The virtual machine makes it better for me, but it's still pretty shit.
Yeah, it's now the only issue is that I have to VNC in to control it. If I had like a touch control a touch control deck so that I could like switch between all my different inputs, and I wouldn't need to actually control everything from this end, and then it would be perfect.
Yeah. Well, I am hoping to be a guest on your streams, and I'm looking forward to it.
You are always invited.
Cool. Okay, I think I'm going to dive straight into this. I looked at Mariko Trustzone for approximately 10 minutes today, which was to say I tried every combination of 16 bytes with the Mariko kek to check how the key derivation worked. And that worked, so I actually have no idea what I'm doing here. And I don't know what modern Mariko Trustzone layout looks like. But this already looks reasonably familiar. Let's apply friends so that we get the nice names.
Hey, Mike, have you seen the comment in Off Topic?
What is the comment in Off Topic?
I have no idea how to parse that.
I think the Switch is bad platform to play on. Hack the Xbox instead. That's very funny. Oh, you missed us. Some guy was commenting in Russian a little bit ago. Turtle, it is Hedgeberg.
That was not what I was referring to. I was referring to the question about when did you become a tot.
Okay, so that's cut off because it said top meme lord in the chat, or top tier meme lord. But I agree.
Okay.
I agree. That's pretty funny.
Okay.
Also, I would prefer not to talk about these kinds of things, but I will only comment for the sake of accuracy. If you are hoping for me to be a top, you are deeply disappointed. I am an enormous bottom, and that's all there really is to say.
This comes as no surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it should not come as a surprise to anyone who has ever meaningfully interacted with me.
Okay, where the fuck did I put my stream key?
Okay. So let's label the cold boot init, because it looks like this is doing the same thing where it's going to do this and then branch. This is a function, but it's
changed the dashboard so much. Whoa.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm discovering this on the fly.
No.
So,
No
kind
worries.
of being annoying, I'm sure, but...
No, not annoying at all. So let me patch this a little bit. 0.0.0.0.14, change that into an infinite loop, and that will allow me to label the previous thing as a function, where IDO is refusing to label it as a function because it couldn't track the control flow, because we haven't loaded the stage that it's branching to yet, which is very funny. Okay. So this will be cold boot init, which I'm expecting is probably the same. This is a totally identical CRT0, which is nice. It is nice to have some sense of bearings. Oh man, I haven't labeled this in forever. Cold boot init. This is going to be doing just applying an init array, but there won't be any functions. So yeah, no. There's nothing happening here because there is an empty init array. So that's fine. And this is going to be uncompressed trustzone images again. So let's check that too. Cool. I already see that this is a little bit more like what I was expecting. Okay, great. So, a little introduction to how the trustzone compression works, and a little fact about Mariko that I think people have not, talked so much about. So, this is an LZ4 decompression function. This is like LZ4 decompressed safe or something, and this is a memcopy. And on Arista, there are 64K of trustzone RAM, and so they reserve like the high two pages rather for page tables and volatile stacks, and so this is giving it a limit of C800. So I guess they're actually reserving the top 3 pages for page tables, which I guess is what I remember. But here on Mariko, first off, the trustzone binary is smaller compressed, but also Mariko has 256K of trustzone RAM instead of 64K. It's 0x40,000 instead of 0x10,000. And so, unsurprisingly, the decompression allows it to be much larger, and it will zero the remaining space. So I guess we are learning that the first 38,800, or rather the first 39,000 rather, is used for the text segment of the Mariko binary. Cool. I'm already excited to the things we are learning. So let's get this uncompressed. We'll do this by hand because we don't really know what we're doing yet. Let's go to 20 EO4, should be here, and then 6 EE9 bytes. 6 EE9. Yes, I want to change the file size. And let's documents, secmon, Oh no, Mariko. Let's call this secmon main.lz4. Although I think I call it lz11 in my program because I'm an idiot, so we'll do that. And then 3890. All right, 2890 because offset by 10,000, and 572 bytes from there. Man, it is very nice to be finally holding this stream. I have been waiting to hold this stream in particular for like a year and a half. Also, Hedgeberg, I can't tell if your audio died or if you just haven't said anything in approximately like 5 minutes.
I just muted. I muted. Been using Zoom a lot, and my
that makes sense. Okay.
Force of habit is to mute when I'm not saying anything, which probably doesn't make for good stream quality. Now that I think about it, having to get used to that's going to be bad. Anyway, actually, so Tim just DM'd me.
Yes.
So Tim's watching your stream at the moment, and Tim asks what the Mariko is. And Tim, that is not a dumb question, to be clear.
It is not a dumb question at all. Yes, please explain.
Mariko is the second generation. Well, I guess technically I would call eye-patched fuses or eye-patched switches 1.5th generation.
1.1.
Mariko is the second generation of switches. Basically, when the Switch first came out, it had a chip in it called the NVIDIA TX1, and Cyrus M remembers the exact product number.
ODNX A202, I think. I have that in my code. I'll look it up right now.
Yep. And then eventually, when the boot ROM exploit was discovered, Nintendo released a slight update to the Switch, which was basically they used what are called eye patches, which are fuses on the system on a chip that can be used to patch parts of the boot ROM, and they use that to patch out the USB vulnerability. But it left certain other vulnerabilities in the boot ROM that were non-ideal, and so eventually they rolled out Mariko, which had a little bit more power than the original Switch.
Not just more power, it is also way lower. It's way more energy efficient.
Yeah, it's way more energy efficient, and it's also physically smaller because of the fact that there was a die shrink.
Yeah.
So Mariko is the little brother? Not really little. It's really weird trying to use that kind of terminology to describe it. It's basically the upgraded version of the SoC that was in the launch day Switch.
Yes.
So Mariko is what is in all lights and is going to be in.
It's in the red box switches.
All off the shelf switches at this point. If you're buying a new one.
It was very kind of Nintendo to label them by color for us.
Yeah, and also to give us the serial numbers exposed on the outside like that.
Yeah, also, you missed this, Hedgeberg. Oh my god, Windows Virus Protection. You missed this because you were talking, and I didn't say anything out loud because you were talking. But I went to uncompress the Mariko trustzone images, and my VM does not have GCC installed. So while you were talking, I copied the edited decompressor to my host, compiled it, and then copied the executable back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
That's how cross compilation is.
Yeah, it's still dumb. But
okay. I have done so much more dumb shit than that recently. When I was I had an intern last year. We were working on poking at voting machines actually.
Yeah.
And mostly just as a learning experience, and also kind of as I thought that would be a cool intern project. And we were trying to compile things for it, and the binary format on that was bizarre, and we couldn't get a compiler running. So we just injected shellcode into already compiled binaries to get execution on it.
Good. Very good. I love memes like that.
It's just sometimes you do dumb shit to get things working.
Yeah, I vape. I understand.
And I'm the king of drugs.
That's true. How does it feel to be a king?
Feels pretty good.
Good content. Okay, I am loading in the binaries that I just uncompressed right now.
Right, I was mounting my recording drive because I need to stress test this whole thing, which means I also need to be recording at the same time.
Nice.
Okay, so mount.
And this is loaded to 4003, 2000. Okay. I know that I used 1,000 as a suffix for a lot of hexadecimal numbers when it's like objectively not even 3 zeros. So I apologize to anyone watching for my like weird usage of the word 1,000 in that way. Okay, let's see. Now let's declare this is going to be a function, and then this will be its own function. There we go.
Change own hedge / mount.
It does sound very familiar, StuckPixel. It sounds very, very familiar. StuckPixel asked if
familiar?
injecting shit into compiled binaries sounds familiar. And the joke is that that is what I did for Gateway's mod chip stuff last.
Oh, fine.
Last night. Yeah. I was way too lazy to figure out how to like do their mod chip initialization handshake. Built. So I just patched their stage 0 to not clear memory and to not verify the hashes of the things that it loads.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Why do all of this work when a perfectly good assembled binary is right there for you?
I know, exactly. All you have to do is change a bunch of bytes to zeros because NOP is such a conveniently encoded ARM instruction. I guess this will be setup environment and this will be jump to cold boot main. So far, we're looking at similar stuff structurally, but I'm expecting the real meat of the differences to be in package 2 loader. Anyway. Unlike most trustzone streams, I am actually expecting there to be a lot of differences in this one, and I'm hoping to have a lot of fun labeling them.
Okay, let's make sure I have right permissions here. Vim / pips.text.
Sub environment. Cool. It's this is it writing a shared bit of data to an X bootloader. Set up DMA controllers.
Right permissions. Okay, cool.
And this looks like the same signature. Great. Interesting. Mariko's trustzone.txt is 1 page smaller than Arista's.
Huh.
Yes. That doesn't surprise me. One of the things that Mariko did, I think, is super optimize the context save operation so that it's simpler from the software side, and so there will probably be a lot less code needed to do that, which is like substantial savings.
Dude, I'm opening up my recording drive trying to find where to store things, and all of my stream captures on this drive are from 2017.
That's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, that was when you were streaming for 3DS boot ROM stuff, wasn't it?
I think I might have already. I think at that point I might have actually moved on to Wii U stuff.
Yeah.
I was working on Wii U stuff when I had to stop.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that because I played Breath of the Wild in the background while watching your streams a bunch of times. So that makes sense.
Wild.
I know.
Breath.
I vape.
Cotton.
Mm.
So you ripping those deep clouds?
Huge clouds. What can I say?
I hate vape slang. I hate it so much. It's just awful.
Why do you hate it? Don't you want to be a proud member of #VapeNation, Hedgeberg?
I mean, I know we're making jokes here, but in all seriousness, vape slang is the worst.
Yes, I agree. Vape slang is terrible. Ugh.
Okay, I think that's everything. Output. Recording pad.
Yeah, this is actually a cache flush. Interesting. Okay. This is lock tsec. Misnamed that. Speed flush. Cache. Init, and this will be lock tsec.
Also, I am drinking a cider currently, which is the closest anyone will get to me drunk streaming.
Oh, that's fun.
So,
it's very fun.
Yeah.
No, so I, expecting this to possibly take a while and not intending to finish streaming until this is fully labeled, made coffee for myself, which I don't normally drink.
Oh, it's one of those nights?
It is one of those nights.
Make sure to get some sleep if you can, man.
Dude, I literally didn't sleep one of the nights this week, which was an experience.
I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware that this is what you do.
Yes. Ooh, new right. What is this doing? 600C110. There's no chance at all that is in the, no chance at all that's in the Tigrex one, RCM, but I'm gonna look anyway. What is that right going to be?
Oh, okay. It's the wrong.
Need the system
folder.
address map. 6000T C200 is the secure boot registers. I'm very excited by this new write. Sorry, I know I'm like excited about nothing. System registers. Okay, it's in the AHB arbitration registers, so that's interesting. Very interesting. I like to search for AHB arbitration. Will that get me anywhere? Probably not. But it's worth a shot. Arbitrary registers. We want is at an offset 110, which it's not going to be in the public TRM, but you know it is worth at least checking.
Okay, there we go. Finally got my CMD key working again. So I have this bizarre issue with my sorry?
No, it looks like this is documented as AHB spare reg, although maybe it's something else different on Mariko. There's this new register, right, that I'm interested in, which is
yeah, we're not, and it's probably different during boot ROM context, or it's best to assume that nothing is the same, I should say.
Well, the good news is this is not a boot ROM context, but I agree.
Oh, right.
Yes, this is the secure monitor, which means the ARM64 processor is booted, and we are in, you know, reasonably normal territory.
Okay, I think I'm ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start streaming here in just a second. If you want to mute me for that, go for it. Otherwise, I'm going to say hello to all 4 people that will probably show up that aren't already watching you.
No worries. Have fun saying hello. Yeah. Maybe I should send a request to NVIDIA. Yeah, we'll figure out what this does eventually. I mean, we can just modify it by testing. This is clearly setting the low bits. It's preserving the low bits, and it's setting these high bits. This is a function that like locks stuff out in general and like configures the AHB to be secure against the kinds of things that we want. Well, that Nintendo wants the AHB to be secure against. So my best guess is that this is going to be locking something out. I guess this means stuck pixel. We should test later. Like dump a bunch of memory ranges and then don't write that register and see what changes when we do write it. If you are on board for that. Which, yeah, hopefully you are. Although you are generally on board for stuff, I have found. Yes. Okay, we have already got difference.
Okay, stream info is updated. Let's give it a shot. And start streaming, start recording.
Nice. I am thinking that I would like, while labeling this Mariko binary, to actually do the thing where I write comments when things are super different, because otherwise I just won't remember them later. That seems right for me to do. Yeah, no, this is the write to Gizmo TZ RAM, so this is a brand new write. I am very interested in what that does. We will find out later. We shouldn't spend so much time there. Now let's look at the memory mappings, which I also expect to be very different. Okay, as expected, it is using these pages near the end of fake TZ RAM for this. Same fundamental address space. That's good. That makes my life easy because I know their address space. Okay, so this is setting up the L1 and L2 entries. Cool. I don't need to label that. I know what all that does. I think that this is, yeah, that's just a memclear. This is the function that we really care about, which creates a L3 mapping.
What does the fish shell prompt look like?
I find that fish shells are generally scaly and usually kind of translucent.
Shut up. Shut up. I'm mildly inebriated and trying to focus, and it's a bad combination.
Yeah. Oh, someone said that you left. I wonder if you're not audible on this stream anymore. Though that doesn't make sense because you're just desktop audio. Oh, never mind. Zeki Cat said or not. Okay, so the big difference so far is that the page tables are up in the upper part of IRAM, and this memory mapping actually looks pretty much the same. This is in order. The GIC-D, the GIC-C. God, what is this one? I always forget what 7000, 6000 is. I think it's system or GPIO, or like MMC or something. Oh, it's UART. Okay. UART, clock reset, RTC, PMC, something, something. What are those? Timers and system. Okay. Security engine. Security engine 2. I love that they map this Mariko MMIO on Arista too, even though it's not there. Like, that's just objectively very funny.
Where did I put...
Okay, actually, this memory mapping is totally identical for this part, so that's really nice. That makes my life very easy, that this memory mapping is identical. Also, they only map 10,000 of TZ RAM, despite the fact that there's 40,000 available. Never mind, they do map 40,000 in this case, for the read-only view of it. Hey, Behemoth. Good morning. Okay, the memory...
I just went ahead and unmuted my audio. Let's see if everybody can hear me on the stream.
Oh, man. Visible in 2 streams?
Oh. Huh?
Audible in 2 streams at once? Nice.
Yeah. Congratulations. You're now a peak streamer. Because we're cross-streaming. I think that's the term for this. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Twitch things.
I don't use Twitch except for shitposting, so I wouldn't know either. Adeb says in the chat, cross-vaping, which I agree with. I vape. Okay, the memory map is identical. The only difference is that...
Hey, T. Slater, what do you mean by it sounds wild? Oh, are you listening to both streams at once? Yeah, that's gonna be a bad time.
Okay.
That's gonna be a really bad time.
Yeah, don't do that.
Hey, Morgan, good to see you.
It's a bad choice.
Hey, Pixel. Hey, Kitlith. Good to see everybody again. Let's see. Where's Ash? I told Ash I was streaming now. She likes to show up for these things. So, oh, right. Yeah, I should probably go ahead and do that.
Okay, so the good news is, having just looked at these memory functions, they are completely identical. The only difference is that the read-only mapping of trustzone that's used for context save now encompasses the whole 256K of Mariko trustzone RAM instead of the 64K of Arista trustzone RAM. Although I note amusedly that they only map the first 64K as executable, and that seems like a mistake to me more than anything.
There we go. Is this looking good? Cool.
That's very funny. Their identity mapping is only actually mapping the first 64K, and it should be mapping the remaining 192K. So that's kind of funny. It doesn't really matter. But if their code ever gets big enough that it doesn't fit, yeah. Yes, DuckPixel, their address space is identical. The only difference is how big their mappings are for trustzone RAM.
Hey, so if anybody's watching my stream right now, can anybody tell me how smooth everything looks? It should be, 30 FPS, relatively smooth. I've got that big view of that integrated circuit in the middle of my screen now. And hopefully you should be able to see that moving around. Okay, I can't watch the stream at the same time that it's happening. That's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah. We will probably need to stop calling at some point between the two of us trying to respond to separate chat stream comments. Those will just get noisy and confusing, but I don't think it has to happen right away.
Or I can just shut up for the most part.
Okay, if the segmentation map is basically the same, I'm going to do this manually, which kind of sucks. Wait, actually, no, we're going to be smarter than this. The mappings are basically the same, which means I can just reduce file, IDC. We're going to use the classic way that I used to do this. Where I produce this, and then I go over here.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying what I'm doing aloud, so no worries.
Yeah. So if you're watching my stream right now, I'm showing off my capabilities to actually have my video microscope recording at the same time that I am, or having that stream to the computer at the same time. So I can actually, at this point, lost my train of thought. So at this point now, I have everything working independently from the dev laptop. So I am now streaming everything to a Streambox. So I have my microscope here, which is streaming over S-Video to an S-Video to HDMI converter, and then that S-Video to HDMI converter is going to an SDI converter, which is going to my Blackmagic Decklink card. And then I have my dev laptop, which is going to an HDMI splitter. HDMI splitter is going to one monitor, which I'm using for dev stuff, and then the other one's going to an SDI converter. And I need to get a new SDI converter that will actually step down to 30 FPS, because the Blackmagic card can only capture 30 FPS. But that means that I can actually do cool things like show you guys what's going on with my nice microscope now instead of that shitty USB one I was using for a while. And I can reboot my laptop in the middle of the stream and not have to worry about dropping. So it's pretty good.
I agree. That is positive.
You need to go ahead and actually. So
Okay,
anyway,
positive.
what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the stream is probably just setting stuff up. So
Cool. Okay, I copied over the segmentation map from my normal database. And that means I'm going to have to rename all of the functions that I already labeled so far, but I only labeled like 15 to 20 functions, and it's way faster than entering 40 segments by hand anyway.
So, first of all, sorry, go.
Nah, what were you going to say?
So I was going to say, hey, Ash, because Ash just showed up in chat. And then also, what you're looking at is, this is an IC that I'm going to be starting to reverse once I actually get back to streaming. This is the AMD 29K. It's a CPU line that died in the 90s.
Nice. What a coincidence. I also died in the 90s.
I ran in the 90s.
You know, I vape. What else can I say?
Okay, so, what was I gonna do? Right, okay, I was gonna go ahead and actually see if I can get, hardware cam going reasonably.
Mm-hmm. I bet that I will be happier labeling PK1 identity as a read executable so that it actually gives me good output here.
Okay, I'm going to put this to black screen so I don't end up accidentally showing my face real quick. And we're going to go ahead and give this a shot.
Ooh, face reveal. Don't actually reveal your face, but face reveal.
I had my face reveal stolen from me.
That's true.
That's a yikes moment.
It is.
How do I put studio mode again? Studio mode, there we go. Okay. Let me make sure that things are still showing correctly. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Okay, need to add a new video source.
We are actually already almost back to where we were in terms of labeling, so we will move on to the meat of this in just a second.
Oh, that's fun. That fast?
Yeah, I mean, when I know what I'm labeling, it's just how fast can I type, and I can type pretty fast.
Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't look like the webcam is being detected. Shift size voice.
Is this someone telling me that I need to be? Is this someone telling me that I need to be louder again?
No. Jam just sent me a shit post of a DM.
Good. Okay, so now I need to actually load the binaries that this is copying in. So let's do this. The mapping is the same, which means that I have some experience loading stuff in by hand, and that will make my life a lot easier, thankfully.
So this is going to cause some nesting, but I'm just going to go ahead and get out of studio mode, and I'm just going to... So we're going to figure out why my video isn't working.
Yeah.
Nope, that's the wrong one.
Okay, so the package 2 loader segment is still at 1FO1E, and it is like the first 1800 bytes of the binary. So let's load that first. Gonna load file, additional binary file.
Okay, trying to use i3 to keep track of all of my windows is not working so well. Oh, that's a bit of a trip. Okay, so let's see. It was what, volts?
By the way,
yeah.
You would actually know this, Hedge. Why on earth does IDA, at this point, not have the ability to have two segments share the same backing memory?
Because IDA's a piece of shit.
Have you ever done a typing test?
It's
I
terribly
have.
built software with no consistency in its back end.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Okay, let's quickly do a typing test since Turtle just asked me to do one. I did one on a previous stream, but let's do another typing test.
What was I doing here? Let's see, it was
my key became detached. Let's cancel this.
Right, I was gonna try to see if I can figure out what's going on with the webcam. Hopefully this is just gonna start suddenly broadcasting. Well, or actually, let me go ahead and go back to OBS and disable that input. So you guys are watching me get set up live. Ooh. There we go. Am I still there?
Yep, I am doing a typing test.
Okay. So my webcam just isn't enumerating at all?
Yeah, okay, like 100 words per minute-ish is reasonable. I think I usually test between like 95 and 115 words per minute, which is about right. Okay. Let's get back to reversing, because that is much more interesting than my typing speed, but there is your answer, Turtle.
Okay, there we go. So let me go ahead and go take us back to black screen.
Okay. Then I need to load a text in, which is easy.
That.
File, load file, additional binary file.
Studio mode.
Load this. And the loading offset is 0x1FO1 40,000. And the file offset is 0x1800. And I think that should just be correct. Did I load the previous one to the wrong address? I bet I did. That sounds like me.
It looks like OBS needs maybe some other plugin. Maybe UVC video.
Yes, I did load it to the wrong address. That's pretty funny. Yeah, whatever. That never harmed anyone.
I wonder if I can just use GUVC view instead. That's probably the way to do this. Okay, 1 second here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and install. So stay with me while I'm got you guys black screened. Sorry about that.
Cool.
Okay, GUVC view.
Wait. Nah, that's the wrong thing. Let's do that again. File, additional binary file.
I wonder if I might actually.
Meta contract says not in this switch scene. What is this? The trustzone kernel. File offsets 0, 0, megabytes 1800. So, good question, meta construct. Basically, the switch has a secure monitor, which is like the trustzone, the only trustzone binary that runs on the switch. It doesn't have a trustzone kernel because it doesn't have trustzone applets and it doesn't have like a secure non-EL3 monitor. But this is the trustzone code for the switch. Nintendo released a hardware revision in 2019 that they've been working on for a while called Mariko, which is a revised version of the Switch SoC, and it has new security features. And we only dumped the keys to decrypt this so that we can analyze it literally 2 days ago. So I have previously streamed myself fully labeling reverse engineering databases for the original Switch firmware. And we are now doing the same and finally figuring out what is different in the newer Switch models firmware. And I've been very excited to do this for a long time.
That's not working. Where did my... Let's go ahead and just switch back. Also, I can go ahead and hide that.
Excellent, excellent. We have made it to package 2 loader. That's exciting.
Okay, let's see. Alt 7 was it? No.
Yeah, no worries. I'm always happy to explain what I'm doing. Also, yeah, I type a lot faster when programming, Gen for V. But, you know, generic typing test is not inaccurate, so it's what we're doing. Interesting.
Why? Okay, I need to look up why. I think, does GUVCV require permissions?
Oh, I see. I see what's going on here. So I actually did fuck up loading that because I'm not good at loading things by hand. But I can fix it. Basically, I just loaded... Fuck. Adib just commented in the chat, in fairness, that typing test was about astronomy, and we all know your feelings towards astronomers. And he is absolutely right. Astronomy is a sin, and nobody should ever practice astronomy, and everyone who does should be put to death.
What?
You heard me.
There's some backing to this that I'm totally missing.
I am a member of the support group for anti-astronomy. All astronomers should be killed. Astronomy is the deepest human sin. I stand by my words.
What did astronomers do to you?
They looked at the stars. The world must be cleansed of skywatchers.
Issue is I'm having trouble figuring out to what degree you're serious because I've been listening to too much Night Vale recently.
Let me assure you, I am deadly serious. Astronomers should be fed to an enormous crocodile.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, something's wrong here.
Yes, it's the fact that astronomers are allowed to live in the year of our Lord 2019. 2020.
Shush. Shush. Permissions to access are handled by UDEV. There is no configuration necessary.
Interesting.
So then why can't I get GUVC view? The webcam will work out of the box. Yeah, that's what you'd think.
Something is wrong here.
Let's see if anybody says anything in Twitch about this.
This function is just being misapplied. That happens.
I mean, yeah, it's probably gremlins. Jam says the year is 201920. Cyrus has fed all of the astronomers to the Big Croc.
Why do you think this function is no return? Because it's got a panic call at the end of it. That panic shouldn't be unconditional, I think. It probably thinks that this is never returning. Why does it think this is never returning? This is clearly checks as far as CDR0 and init. So I wonder why this is failing.
Permission denied. Why would...
Okay, that's doing like security engine init. Why is this failing?
Did the Linux kernel get modified to limit who has access to video devices? Because UDEV should be handling this.
I see.
What the fuck?
Okay, so that was bad IDA output because this function, it thinks this is no return and it is not no return. T Slater asks, so all of these function names you are copying from your other IDA instance during the original reversing? Yes, I named all of these functions and I have changed my names for them like several times. I don't have consistent names for them. So I apologize for that. But yes, these are all my names. Cool.
I've already got installed. QV4L2.
Let's go back to cold boot main. Hopefully we can get better output now. It still thinks this function is truncating.
Device. Computer.
This is probably not a function chunk. So let's forward, make this a function, and then make this a function. There we go. That looks a lot happier, doesn't it? Oh, right. No, this still needs to be made, not no return. Why do I think this is no return? Oh, it also thinks this is no return, of course.
cd dev.
It thinks this is no return.
Video star.
Sorry that we are struggling with all of this no return fixing on stream. I know that it is like the least interesting thing for me to be doing is fixing up no returns.
Okay, the group is video. Is video the group that I'm in on my dev machine?
That's better.
Groups edge.
And now that fixed.
No.
Nope.
I'm in audio UUCP Bumblebee Wireshark wheel. Would I need to be in UUCP for video?
Okay, there we go. That looks like proper init, and now we will fix this too. That is a lot of effort to fix this no return bullshit. Okay, there we go. That looks better, and now we will do the same thing here. Nope. We'll do the same thing here. Nope.
Okay, what the fuck? So V4L is loading it.
It's complaining here now. Ah.
Okay, can't access dev video 0. There is nothing about or access denied dev video 0.
This is Ida shitting the bed very hard. Like remarkably badly.
What's it doing?
It is basically decided that some function was no return and then tagged like a billion things no return, and it's making me fix all of them by hand.
So that happens in any decompiler, unfortunately. The good news is that in Ghidra, once you fix it you know, ripples its way down the chain and figures itself out.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, now it is now that's all fixed.
Group here. Why am I doing that on there? I can do this over here.
Good. Okay.
Contains this amongst others.
So let's do all of these register setters, and let's get them out of the way. Friendly reminder that it is pronounced Gydra.
What is Zemu?
I think Zemu is when a cow goes to sleep.
Wow. You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel today, huh?
Don't worry, I am always scraping the bottom of the barrel every day. I amuse myself.
CRW.
Set Acmon registers. Set car. Base. Why do I use reg here with base everywhere else? Set flow base. Set fuse base. This is still set interbase. This is still set I2C base. This is set this
info show. So this person says this. So we're just gonna have to set ourselves.
Base. Set SE2 base. Set UART base. Set wait base. Set timers base. Okay, so the only new initialized MMIO library is Security Engine 2.
Oh, it's -D?
By the way, Hedge, Turtle makes a good point, which is that you don't get my humor because you don't vape. What's your take?
I do vape, though. I'm the king of drugs.
Damn. I was so close to thinking that we had a solution. So,
I gotta think these things through.
Jan4V asks, what is SE2? And the answer is that Mariko contains a second copy of the security engine. It is totally identical to the first security engine. Well, it does more stuff in it, but for the purposes that Nintendo uses, it is totally identical to the first security engine. And I don't know why NVIDIA bothered to edit, but there's a second security engine on Mariko.
Ash, you shouldn't. You subbed. I'm not doing anything deserving subbing. It makes me feel weird. I don't think, Morgan, there doesn't need to be a new group though, because the group already exists.
I'm going to copy all of these in here, all of these types in.
Also, if I did that, I'd have to log out of my my... I have to log out of my stream box. That wouldn't work anyway.
We will find out what they do with it later, Jennifer V. I have no fucking idea what they do with it right now, is the honest answer. If they do anything with it, we will find out soon.
No, I know that new group adds you to a group, but I don't need to be in the video group. Oh. Oh, what? I did not know that. That's fascinating. New group video.
Okay. Set interrupt base.
Oh, do I have to do sudo new group?
It sounds like you're debugging stuff with Linux. Not to make too much of a point here.
Kitlith, thanks for the sub.
Have you considered such strategies as using Windows, Hedge?
No.
That might
because
be where
Windows
you're going
does
wrong.
not have DAC audio routing, which is absolutely critical to the way that I do things.
That's fair. Have you considered doing things better?
Are we going to do this right now? Are we going to do this right now, Mr. I have 2 million tabs open?
Let me assure you, every tab I have ever opened has been critical for my operation. And you know it.
Yeah, exactly, Val. It's having used VB audio cable many times. I hate the hell out of it.
So, the ADEB says, I hear Windows Vista is the next big thing, and let me assure you, it is.
I really kind of wish we weren't so mean to Windows Vista, because yes, it was a colossal fuck-up of an incredible degree. But it was a colossal fuck-up that tried new things that ended up redefining the way that OS security is done.
I think that if people try new things and they work out well, we should applaud them, and if they turn out poorly, we should tell them they're idiots. That's the healthy way to do this, isn't it?
Yes, Jam, that's 5 cents is exactly the same as a 10-month sub. Thank you. With Twitch pay rates, exactly right. I don't know what the fuck that was. I was trying to do like a
Hedge,
but like I don't know where the fuck it went.
Turtle says in my chat, Hedge, have you considered getting good?
I've tried, and I just can't.
I respect it.
I just can't. Oh, Morgan. Okay, thank you for the sub. I'll see when that comes through. But I believe you. I need to come up with a better way to shout people. Right. Thank you for contributing to the hedge fund.
Slim Gary says,
That
gonna
was
give
what I
you,
did.
gonna
I
give you a
thought about
huge
that.
tip. Right-click on your taskbar, search, hit it.
Kitlith, Morgan, and Ash. Thank you.
Oh,
for
thank you.
contributing
That
to
is
the hedge
useful.
fund.
That actually is useful. Much appreciated.
Okay, seriously though, what? I think I just need to reboot this and figure out what's going on with hype train incoming. What? Val, thank you for contributing to the hedge fund.
The hedge fund is a really good joke.
It is. It really is. I don't know what the hell hype train is. Twitch has added so many new features that I do not understand.
Yeah, I don't understand Twitch at all. I never understood Twitch.
T Slater 2006, thank you for the sub. Well, thank you for contributing to the hedge fund.
Emery 0x800. Right, I need to set the permissions on these segments, don't I?
Level 1 complete. I have no idea what this is.
.text is read execute.
Something about hype train.
RO data is read.
Okay, anyway, I need to figure out
Read, right.
what is...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to figure out video stuff right now.
Oh, right. The segments are offset by 1, so that's actually wrong. I see.
I was thinking I would actually show you guys lockpicking as a way to screw around, but that is not going to work. Let's just go ahead and look around this integrated circuit instead.
This is the one error that happened from copy-pasting this from the other one, is that text is 1 page smaller on Mariko trustzone, we learned.
Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this back.
Slim Gary says, I helped Sires. I'm part of the Atmosphere World forever now. Something like that. What a meme.
Yep.
What a meme. Okay, let's see. Maybe
Quote,
that'll.
every user who's ever joined Switch hacking meta ever. Thank you to the genius Sires M.
Please don't call me a genius. I'm deeply uncomfortable with that. I'm not that smart. I mean, I'm like.
It's really weird to see people come in and say things at you like that. It's just deeply uncomfortable, and I don't get why people do it.
I agree.
Okay, I'm trying to move my stupid.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Idibs. I am very big brained because you need a very high IQ in order to vape, and I vape. But that said, you know, I'm not that big brained.
Hey, Jellybean.
You know, one of these days I will not like barricade Pounce out of my little office space when I am working. I should let Pounce be in here while I'm working. That would be nice of me to do for a future stream. No. Any rootkits that were in Hacktool continue to be in Hacktool. Zaki Cat Games, I'm sorry about that. Hedge for reference. Windows started complaining. Windows started complaining that Hacktool is a virus. Recently.
It's not that it's a virus. It's complaining that it does not have enough information to actually. It's saying too few people have downloaded it for it to be verified as whether or not it's a virus.
I will maintain that that's dumb.
Oh, it's very dumb. It's one of those Windows security features that, while I understand the motivation behind it, it's really frustrating.
Okay, this looks the same.
So, Cyrus, I don't know if you want to check out my stream real quick as well, if you're interested in this kind of thing or not.
Sure.
But what I'm looking at right now is I'm actually looking at the AMD 29K processor. So this is going to be what we're going to be reverse engineering. The goal for me is actually going to be to try and re-implement this thing from completely the ground up, because this architecture is phenomenal, and it died.
Disappointing.
It was killed by x86 effectively. AMD rolled out a replacement architecture called R6, I believe, or something like that. And R6 was AMD 29K under the hood, but it was x86 compatible because AMD knew they were losing the CPU war. So x86, basically what it did is it would JIT microcode.
It's pronounced JIT.
AMD 29K.
The word you're looking for is JIT.
JIT.
Yes. Just in time. JIT.
I really like the graphics interchange format. I interchange format.
Yeah, me too. It's a good format.
I love the way integrated circuits change colors as they get the light hitting them differently.
Pretty.
Like, that's just so cool. And one of the nice things about this is that this is so old, we'll be able to take a look at it. But anyway, what happened was as AMD was losing the CPU war, they decided to go ahead and get going with x86, and so they started jitting microcode in hardware to AMD 29K instructions in their next revision, hoping that they could still keep AMD 29K alive. And they lost, and AMD 29K died, and it's a shame because this architecture was so far ahead of its time. There was so much cool shit this could do. Like, this has a full floating point.
I don't believe that floating point is a thing that exists.
What?
I don't think floating point is a thing that exists.
So here's the issue, is I'm not sure if this is shitposting or if this is a computational math joke that I'm missing.
It was a shitpost, but I really hope you could find some way for it to have secretly been a computational math joke.
That the way that we didn't have floating points for a very long time. Like, within the context of this, floating point math was a brand new thing, because this was like the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
So floating point math was not a thing at that time, for the most part. So hardware floating point math was a thing, but hardware floating point units were not a thing. And so, like, a hardware floating point unit in the early 90s was absolutely revolutionary. So I was kind of thinking maybe you were making a joke about that, and I was not sure.
I'm glad that you always assume I am making clever jokes. It's a good assumption to have, and I wish more people would make it. By the way, you've never practiced astronomy, right?
I don't believe in stars.
Good. Good.
The cosmos? Fake.
Absolutely.
I believe in the infinite Earth hypothesis, which is to say that Earth is infinite and there's no such thing as a void. So let's see. I think that this is going to be the. I think this is the. There was only L1 cache, so this is probably the, because of the big regularity of it. I'm assuming this is the cache.
Oh hey, new function. So on Arista, it's setting the secure mode for the security engine. It's disabling key reads for the security engine, and then it immediately writes the warm boot firmware address. And while all of these writes look the same on Arista for configuring the warm boot firmware, there is a new function here. So what does it do? Oh, okay. This is clearing a bit in the SE security register of SE2. Do I remember what that bit does? That is bit 0x4, which I think is like TZRAM security, maybe? I don't like actually remember for realsies what that does, but I probably have it in my documentation that I should look at.
Oh, I'm so glad this. So I got new headphones that hopefully will prevent the microphone from going bad, because the issue seemed to have been my headphone cable. Well, not my headphone cable, my headphones themselves, because there was a bad grounding issue, and as a result, noise was getting reflected back through my headphones into the microphone, killing it. So hopefully, I've got a really long headphone cable, so I can walk around my headphones still on, which is nice. But also, hopefully, we shouldn't lose to next room mid-sentence. Yeah. Iris Technologies, hi, can I get hired? Hired for what? God, my ADHD is bad right now. Point was hopefully stream drops won't happen anymore.
Okay, no, this is a new bit. Security bit 4. This is actually clearing the bit, not setting it. Interesting. And this is actually clearing it for both. Clear security engines. Yeah, I don't need the prefix because it's doing it for both. Clear security bit 4. Okay. Interesting. So this is probably a new bit that has some new meaning on Mariko that we don't know yet. Interesting.
So the reason that I went away from the microphone for a bit there is because of the fact that this right here is the. I can barely. This is the problem with this microscope, is that it doesn't zoom far enough out for me to actually show you guys everything. So this is the This is the AM 2900. So this is what or 29,000. This is what the architecture is named for. This is the 29050, and so it'd been really nice to have the hardware cam for. What's really cool about this guy is that these guys had a heatsink on them. It's really weird. So this was a ceramic package with a heatsink, because the floating point unit was really beefy. So like you can see there, it's not going to be easy to see, but you can so here's the label, and if we roll over to the side, you can see these fins, and then you can see the top of the ceramic package. So like
So the functions that I'm labeling right now, I can't tell if Hitchberg dropped off or muted herself. But basically, it looks like for generating SRK, they now have a function to do this on a per engine basis instead of hard coding security engine 1. So that's fun. That is fun.
Actually, I can go ahead and pull up a high quality die shot of the 29050. Yeah, it's a really. I've never seen another package like. I have never seen a chip with an integrated heatsink like that. Oh, actually, you know what? I can show you guys what I ended up doing to actually get this thing extracted. So, I had another one of these. I bought 4 of these. One of them, I ended up destroying the package trying to get the integrated circuit out, and I did, but I also ended up destroying the integrated circuit, not related to what happened. Basically, what I was trying to do was I was trying to blowtorch the package to see if I could melt the epoxy that holds the integrated circuit onto the back plane here. And as I was heating it, a thing happened that
So we have already found our first mistake in Mariko trustzone. Very funny.
Oh boy.
Not a security mistake, but a bug. Fucking Nintendo. That's really funny. Okay, so they are trying to generate an SRK for both security engines. The SRK is like the secured something key. I don't know. Basically, it protects the security engine state.
Secured routine key?
Who knows? Basically, on context save, the security engine encrypts its contents, and then they get restored by the boot ROM on reboot.
So this is what happened when I got the IC out. The damage that, like the visual damage that you see there, is actually my fault for me trying to polish the IC to see if I could see things below it. So you can actually see right there a little spot where the IC actually wore through the first metal layer. So you can actually see a little bit of the metallization below it, which is kind of neat. But what I'm trying to find is what's left of the package. Because that package is also why this square-shaped spot exists in the base of my microscope.
So the issue, Hedgeberg, is that Nintendo now passes a argument for which engine they want to do stuff to some of these functions.
Oh no.
But the function, like generate SRK impl, calls get registers, which returns the first engine, and so they like partially configure the second security engine that they're operating on. But the register rate, which in this case does the RNG seed configuration for how they are going to generate a random key for the SRK, is configuring the first engine, and so the second engine will be uninitialized when they do this. So this is going to generate a non-random improper state key. So that's really funny. Nintendo, I'm sure you're watching this. Please fix this shit. I don't know how your API takes in an argument to the registers, and you are still calling get registers instead of using the argument. But that's funny. It happens. Okay.
Okay, so I'm not finding it, unfortunately, but actually, let me check under the shelf over here. Nope, I'm not seeing it. Nope. So unfortunately, I can't find it. Basically, what happened is, as I was firing the back of the package, as I was trying to blowtorch the package to melt the epoxy, so like right here in the middle of the package, wish I had hardware cam working so I could show you guys this a little bit early. But right here in the back of the package, I was blowtorching, trying to melt it so that the IC would hopefully just fall off. Ceramic stuff heats slowly, and I was applying a big heat source to the middle of a ceramic square. So who can guess what happened?
You applied
Mike,
heat to a square.
Guess? Huh?
You applied heat to a square. That is my guess.
In the middle of a ceramic square? A very large heat source in the middle of a ceramic square?
I am guessing that the ceramic square got hot.
Yeah. I get... Yeah, NXDev is correct. It was thermal shock.
Yeah.
Basically what happened was the center of the chip, or the center of the package, got really hot, and the outside edges were cold. And there was an unevenly distributed stress from the heat in the middle of the package and cold on the edges of the package. And the package shattered. The package shattered, and the IC came straight off, which is cool, because that means that I can do this to get the next one out as well. It means that, I discovered an actual method for extracting these things. But also, I very nearly lost an eye.
I would suggest not losing your eyes. You need those to see.
So, valid method for extracting integrated circuits from these things, but not a valid method for eye safety. So anyway, though, we can go ahead and take a look at the extracted one. I should get some tweezers so I don't screw this too much. Yeah, that's kind of where I was meaning to go with this before I let myself get sidetracked. Even when if you're if you're doing anything remotely physical, wear safety glasses. I absolutely should have been thinking to wear safety glasses. I'm a big proponent of safety glasses, and I don't know why I didn't think to for that. Honestly, I probably would have worn a whole blast shield. Like, I would have put on my my gas mask because that has a blast shield on the face. So here you can actually see a bunch of spots where I have completely worn away the outer coating. So like you can see through to some of the lower metal here.
God, they make the same mistake Nintendo does when initializing their random key slot, where they configure the random data for the first security engine, regardless of which engine they're generating a random key for. So the second security engine will continue to not have a really random key.
That's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they use the second engine yet, but so far their code is really mishandling it.
Yeah, I don't know how they could make use of it, considering what.
Yeah, no, probably they're not using it all, but they are misconfiguring it already, and we are like 20 functions in.
I mean, if they're misconfiguring it that badly, then they basically made clear that they aren't using it.
Yeah, God, Nintendo, it's not that hard to use the correct engine. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, this is clearing key slots.
Super. God, I love looking at integrated circuits, especially as they're actually destroyed like this. Being able to look through these things and actually see, some of the inner workings is really neat. So, where this project's going to go is that I am actually in the process of trying to acquire a metallurgical microscope, which is a microscope a lot like the ones used for solder, but instead of being lit from around the side, they're actually lit straight down the middle. So the visual column is also the source of the light. I can actually pull up the diagram for this. Jam says is no longer being okay at shitposting development.
Yeah, all of this is software patchable, Behemoth.
So let's pull up. See if I can find a good diagram. Is there?
This probably is retail.
Second here. Hard to see because I've got my microscope in my screen. Metallurgical microscope diagram. Let's see if I can find a good one. This is good. Okay, cool. So this is the way they work. Yep. Okay, can I just look at this image? Thank you. Cool. So basically the way that a metallurgical microscope works. Oh, I need to turn off the I need to turn off the fact that the integrated circuit is in the screen here.
Yeah, although also we just found that they clear every key slot in the second security engine. And so they're probably not using it at all. They set every key slot to 0.
What? Why have it then? Why? Like, we have evidence Nintendo was influential in market design, right?
Yes, Nintendo directly aided in designing this chip.
Then why did they get a second security engine?
I agree. Yeah, I think first off, they're misconfiguring the second security engine. But second, they are just not using it at all. They're clearing all the AES key slots, and they're not setting any of the key slot flags on it. So all of the key slots that they are not clearing are not protected, which is, I will say, suboptimal for them. I mean, it's fine if they're not using it, but why the fuck do they have this additional security engine if they're not going to use it? Which is, I guess, what you said.
Yeah. So the way that a metallurgical microscope is that it's based on what's called epitaxial light. So the idea is that you have a light source that actually comes through, and this is a little bit of a reductive diagram, but the idea is that what you're doing is you're actually polarizing all of your light as well. And so usually what you've got here is a lens something that is both a polarizer and also it's a polarizing filter and also a reflective surface. So what's going to happen is as the light source comes through here, if it's been polarized a certain way by the condensing system, it's going to reflect off of the filter, and it's going to get reflected down to the specimen. When the photons interact with the specimen, they will shift in their spectrum because of the fact that there's a whole lot of quantum interactions going on down there. And they're going to get depolarized, and they're going to reflect back. And as they get depolarized and reflect back, they're going to get pushed past the filter, and they're going to end up coming through the eyepiece. So that allows you to actually look at things that are opaque by lighting from above, and then that allows you to actually go ahead and take a deep look at things like integrated circuits.
Okay.
So,
yes,
sorry,
Aurora, this is the most recent version of TrustZone. It is from 10.0.0. And this is how Mariko key derivation works, by the way. In order to get the master kek, they take the actual kek, which is set by the boot ROM, and you're not supposed to be able to get without hacking the boot ROM, although, NVIDIA. And they decrypt...
Thanks, guys.
I know. They decrypt a fixed seed with it to get the master kek into key slot D. This is equivalent to this in Arista. And then here, they do all this complicated stuff in Arista to write device keys. Yeah, you're still there.
Dropped out for a second.
I'm still there, and you're still there.
Okay, cool.
They do all this complicated stuff to derive the device key on Arista, but here they just decrypt this fixed seed with the SBK. So diff master.
Yes, Ash, the top cat. This has been a joke in the switch hacking community for a while because the key that you use to encrypt a key is the kek, because it's the key encryption key. And it's all been memes from there. I can't speak to that as well as you can, though.
Yeah, this is a very simplified key generation compared to Arista.
Compared to Arista?
Yeah, it is much simpler.
Neat. So, a yote.
What's really interesting to me is on Arista, there is a tsec key being generated, and your device key is like both derived from your SBK and the tsec key. And on Mariko, the tsec is not used at all, and it is just the SBK decrypting this fixed source. So tsec is completely unused on Mariko, which is interesting. And I'm not surprised that they're not using tsec, because tsec is broken, but, like, even then... Well, I mean, this is secure in the case where nobody ever gets the Mariko kek and back, which is theoretically a thing you have to hack boot ROM to do. Although, clearly...
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to also go to bed, Jam. I can't really do much else at this point.
Are you going to go to bed?
Yeah. I was thinking, or I'm just going to turn off my stream and just stick around and meme with you.
Okay.
Because I, at this point, have nothing else I can really do now that I've tested this, and I need to probably shut down my stream box anyway.
Got it.
So, like... Oh, yeah, no, I really like my Vim theme. My Vim theme, I have done a lot of workflow optimization on this. So I have... Yep. There you go. But I really like my Vim theme, and I also like the fact that, so I've got tab and I've got nerd tree on here, so I can do I had it set to do something else. I had it like set to a key on I had it set to a key on my work computer, but on this machine I don't have anything figured out there.
So, by the way, someone asks in my chat, is all of this only relevant to the boot process of deriving various keys? So, metaconstruct, what I'm decrypting right now is the boot code. I will be labeling the other parts of the secure monitor, like the actual secure monitor call API that it provides later on in the stream. But I'd like to go through the boot code first to understand how hardware is configured before I get into the actual API provided. So yes, all of that everything that I've labeled so far is the boot process and the key derivation process. And like the next thing that'll be happening after this function is it'll set up hardware and then it'll load the stage 2 kernel. But after I label all of the boot flow, which is like the main function for the secure monitor, I will label the API for actually handling calls from userland, or well, userland from the kernel.
Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end my stream on this end just because I've done all the stress testing that I need to do. This has been informative. The system seems to handle it really well, actually. Like, if I jump over to this and I go ahead and re-enable the capture, most I'm using for CPU is 50% on a really, really old bar. So, like, this has kind of been ideal results for me. So this is going really well, and this should hopefully mean good things in the future. So stress test is over, and I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. Stream's over on my end.
No worries. So the actual process for deriving device keys is identical. The only thing that changes is the key used for like device key generation is this just use the SBK instead of using the SBK and the TSEC key. Seems worse to me, to be honest. Like, it seems less secure. And it doesn't matter because TSEC is compromised, but it is, in isolation, less secure. I don't know. What are your feelings on this, if you have any?
I totally did not hear you because I was not paying attention.
That's fine. Totally fine.
No, hit me again.
So, on Arista, the device key is derived by transforming like a fixed seed with the SBK and with a key that we call the TSEC key, which is generated by running a TSEC firmware. And on Mariko, it is only using the SBK. So they are not using TSEC at all. And that just seems like worse to me.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to say, honestly.
It is hard to say.
I feel like TSEC was security by obfuscation to some extent.
Well, it was, given we hacked it, but yes.
So, like, if they're not going to get any benefit, does it really make sense for them to...
I will have to go back and look at older Mariko stuff, because they would have signed this, because we have 6.0 Mariko firmware. They would have done this before we hacked TSEC, which is what makes it weird to me. Like, it's one thing for them to stop using TSEC when we hack TSEC.
Yeah. But when TSEC is still viable...
Yeah, that's what's weird to me. Zakiat, do dev units have a different backend CAC? Yes, they do. And in fact, we can't decrypt 5.0 Mariko firmware because they changed the public key for Mariko around then, and they also changed the backend CAC. Yes, Metaconstruct. Mariko is a new silicon. They did a die shrink, and it's more power efficient. Hedgeberg talked about it earlier.
I think they shrank from 22 nanometers to 14 nanometers. It might have been 14 nanometers.
Yeah, something like that.
Sorry for the zipper in the background. I should have before I did that. But I am opening my hydro, get out my strawberries to see if they are germinating yet.
Nice.
I have exactly one germinated strawberry. I'm really excited because I haven't used hydroponic growing before.
Ooh, actually, on this topic, so it is getting to be summer in California here, and that means it is like fruit and berry season for a lot of stuff that I like. And so I've been going to this farmer's market near me every weekend and getting like 2 trays full of blackberries, and I think I'm eating like 6 like little containers of blackberries in any given week, which is a lot of blackberries. I don't know, there wasn't really a point to that.
It's not that bad, though.
There wasn't really a point to that other than to say, I am eating a lot of blackberries. But, you know, it's important. It's important information to share.
You can make blackberry wine.
Can you?
Yeah. So, yeah, actually, it's, I don't know if you were... Did you see me talking about the fact that my sourdough has started behaving a bit like brewer's yeast?
I did not see that.
So, you're aware that I've been baking bread?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So, I've been maintaining a sourdough starter. After the first week where you get it to the point where it's active enough that it can effectively get bread to rise, you can go ahead and start slowing the feeding process and keeping it in your fridge instead of keeping it at about, 70 degrees, which is ideal yeast growth stage. or
Mm-hmm.
ideal yeast growth temperature.
Nice.
I'm on about my like 5th or 6th loaf of bread at this point, but something really interesting has happened. You're supposed to feed it when it's in the fridge about once a week, and over the last few weeks, towards the end of the week, it has been getting more and more. I will open the yeast and it will smell strongly of ethanol.
Nice.
And there is a gooey, like resinous substance at the top of the starter.
That sounds not delicious.
Definitely, it has about the texture of saliva, and me being me and having
Please tell me
bad
you didn't eat
self-control,
it.
I tasted it.
Why?
It is like pure ethanol.
Why would you taste the resinous substance in your yeast?
Because I was curious if I had accidentally made brewer's yeast. And the answer is, I think I did, dog.
Well, I respect that, but also, please.
I should probably actually be in your stream so I can actually see what chat is saying.
It's probably wise, I would agree.
Yeah. I don't remember how to navigate Twitch at all.
Twitch.tv/SireSM. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, that would be smart.
I understand. I too am not smart.
Anyway, if you're getting a bunch of blackberries, you should, get some seeds out of them and grow them. Blackberries will grow like weeds.
Interesting.
Okay. Celestine. Resinous means like resin. So like, yeah, exactly like Soka said, like resin. So it's sticky. Sticky and thick and viscous.
It's pronounced viscuous. The U is important.
Turtle, if the joke's about yeast infection, it's not a good joke.
I agree.
It's not that it's inappropriate, it's just that it's not a good joke.
Boring joke. Get better humor.
Yes, actually. So this is actually really interesting, Kitlith. So this was actually the way that beer was made in ancient Egypt. So effectively what they would do is they would make loaves of dough, and then they would just not cook them. Because if you left the dough for long enough, it would start to ferment. And as it fermented, it would become alcoholic. And then you could just eat the dough to get drunk. So beer, with air quotes, in ancient Egypt was hard.
Isn't it a liquid?
No, beer in Egypt was solid.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
John David asks, hey, can you bake? I can bake. I actually do a lot of cooking. So, there's...
You were discussing stress baking at one point, and you said you baked, was it brownies?
No, I don't really do pastries so much. I usually bake savory foods. Those are my favorite things. Although when I actually bake, I make key lime pie often. I make never brownies. I've made chocolate cake before, which is similar to brownies, I guess.
Is it my coworker that bakes?
Maybe.
I'm trying to remember who. I know somebody who's stressed.
By the way, they do not, in fact, they do not verify the state of the second security engine, even though they verify the state of the first ones. They are clearly just not using it at all. Which I will repeat is very silly. Also, they're clearing the key slots again, despite having already cleared them, which is weird. But okay, that's their prerogative.
Maybe they're doubly concerned about fault analysis.
Who knows? Bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is that it's hard what went into the installation process. Possibly maybe two different people spec saying we need to make sure to clear key slots before event. and it just got compiled in twice from the code.
Interesting. They are writing to a new security engine register at offset 74.
New register.
Yes.
That's fun. And we don't have a reference manual for Mariko, which makes this a little difficult.
Yeah.
Because we have to deal with 3DS style reverse engineering.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. But
yeah.
Also, a lot of changes are backported from the TX2, so maybe we can find this out later.
Yeah, you have at least context to figure this out.
Yeah. Okay, what is this doing? This is generating random key slot. It's fine. So generate random AS256 key. Okay. So this is so far pretty similar. Diff. So x101 to new register in both engines. Spinning new silicon, might as well jam a bunch of extra blocks in there. Yeah, no, the super weird thing, Metaconstruct, is that they have this second copy of the security engine that they're just not using at all.
So actually thinking about it, I realized it might be trusted execution stuff, like remote execution of payloads in an untrusted environment.
Oh, maybe.
So to add remote assurance, that might have actually been an NVIDIA decision to add, Nintendo's decision.
Got it. Yeah, no, the security engine is just this enormous meme in every way. It is... God, the security engine is dumb. NVIDIA does not understand how to design things for security.
The worst part about it is that I feel bad because they have competent hardware security folks.
They have what?
They have competent hardware security folks.
Do they?
I wound up talking to somebody who was on the NVIDIA embedded security team, and he had joined about 6 months before we disclosed the USB exploit. And NVIDIA was at that point apparently aware.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they were aware of it.
Huh?
I'm sure they were aware. I mean, Mariko's boot ROM would have been finished sometime in 2017, and it does not have the USB exploit in it.
Yeah. I mean, they were like, they had to, apparently the embedded security team had to spend months trying to get that to somebody's attention. It's just, I feel like NVIDIA is one where, you know, the left hand doesn't know what the right is doing.
Yeah.
It's just, as happens with a lot of tech companies, you've got a lot of really, really competent engineering teams, but they don't understand the abstraction blurring, and they end up screwing things up that when they start poking into not their domain, and then when everything gets integrated together, it's even worse.
Yeah. I don't know. NV just seems like such a meme. I feel like they want to take security seriously, but whoever is trying to tell them how to do it is not succeeding in communicating it to the people who are responsible for getting things done.
I think that that's kind of the same at all companies.
Nintendo's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, but Nintendo isn't making custom hardware.
They were once. Although their custom hardware also sucked, so you know, maybe I'm just wrong
exactly.
here.
Like, the thing is that the OS dev is a complex engineering effort, but it is not nearly as complex an engineering effort, in my opinion, as hardware engineering. Because hardware engineering, you get one shot. You can eat lava, but only once.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
That's very fair.
Like, so you get one shot at it, and as a result, you have a lot of teams rushing to make deadline, and the deadline crunch is really tight, and you're usually just fighting to make sure and making sure that all the pieces don't create security fuck-ups together from higher levels is really complicated. I think I am no longer convinced that working within a deadline, it is possible to make secure silicon.
I don't know that I was ever convinced of that. I mean, you would have known better than me, but you would know better than me, obviously. But I don't know that I would have ever been convinced that it was possible to make secure silicon.
A-dubs. I think that probably is a little bit of connection issues kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Also,
I'm talking consistently. Sorry, go.
I tried a thing to maybe disconnect from chat less. So maybe in theory, I don't think I've been disconnecting from chat nearly as much this stream. So hopefully that's improved now.
Yeah, I don't know, but you did also disconnect on. It's possible that it's just because Discord and WebRTC are screwing us.
Yeah, it's possible.
In fact, I'd say that's probably the most likely point of failure, especially since we're not on the same server.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's true, though, Metaconstruct. Like, I get what you're saying, but I think large communication can be done really effectively. It's just that you have to have a well-instituted structure, and you have to have competent people at all the levels. I have worked in large, competent organizations before, and I have worked in really incompetent large organizations. And the key difference between them really comes down to quality of intent of the people in managerial roles.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not the culture is focused on rewarding teamwork.
Why would you want to reward teamwork? Teamwork does not make the dream work.
Obviously, you want to reward your Rockstar 100x devs.
Exactly. You understand.
I will also say I find that for-profit in organizations, in my experience, do this much worse.
Yes.
I found that for-profit groups really, really do screw up the design process way worse.
T Slater says they're going to sleep, so good night, T Slater.
Yep. Hey, Slater. Night. That's Tim, by the way.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize that was Tim. Tim's such a great guy.
So actually, so Tim finished cracking the DRM on his grill, and in a moment of excitement, ran to Reddit asking for testers.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, this is a great way to get C&D'd.
Yeah, that's oof.
But it worked for all of them.
Nice.
So that's fun. At some point, you should ask Tim how that works, because the crypto scheme that they use for enforcing the DRM is so close. Like it's he did some really good reverse engineering on that. The DRM is so close to being decent, despite the fact that there's no.
Yeah.
It's close to being decent if you take into account the fact that. If you take into account the fact that there's no HSM for them to use.
Got it.
But it falls short in so many places.
Oof. That is very oof.
Yeah, that's real stuck pixel. I've seen that before, and it's bad. A lot of the devs who see themselves as really indisposable do shit like that. And Metaconstruct, I'm Hedgeberg on Twitter, but I have not posted in 2 months. And prior to that, I had also not posted in 2 months.
Nice. That sounds
Twitter
correct.
sucks, and I'm glad to be done with it.
I like memes. Also, what sucks about this is I'm probably going to be up until like 2 a.m. working on this. And normally I sleep between like 3:30 or 4:30. But the Pokemon Company is putting out like news about the DLC at 6 in the morning, which means my wake up time is 6 a.m. So I'm probably getting like 1.5, 2 hours of sleep tonight. Which is deeply unfortunate.
Lost you there. Discord fucked us.
Yeah, I was saying that the Pokemon Company has announced they're putting out news about the DLC at 6 in the morning. So with my being up late doing this, tonight is a no sleep night, I think. Or very little sleep.
That's fun.
Very fun. the most fun.
Time is weird.
It is. Time zones are so weird. We keep getting fucked by time zones because XKYZ is in like a opposite time zone as us.
I didn't say time zones. I said time.
Well, I agree you said time, but I said time is weird. I agree. Time zones are super weird. I was adding on to what you were saying.
Yeah, but like, have you ever thought about just like the concept of time?
Yeah, it's a fourth spatial dimension that we're traveling through at a constant rate.
No, it's not constant.
Eh.
Somebody failed quantum dynamics.
Well, no, it's constant. Well, our overall speed through four-dimensional space is constant, but I agree that it's whatever factor makes our spatial
relative to itself. Yes.
Yeah. I know how that works. But yes. This is the same. I'm surprised at how much of the hardware...
Cyrus goes stop to take a nap.
I'm surprised by how much of the hardware initialization is completely fucking identical. So thus far...
Go.
Thus far in hardware init, they have done some stuff for misconfiguring the second security engine. And they have... what register regions they set as secure world only changes based on the hardware type, and that is like the only difference.
That's not terribly surprising though. Why would they throw out good code?
That's fair. You know, I'm just surprised that this new system on a chip is so little different so far. Not complaining because it makes our lives easy when I adapt Exosphere to support this, but
I mean that's one of the things about die shrinks is that this is kind of partly because of Intel's philosophy on die shrinks, which kind of set the industry standard, like the whole flip and what was it, tick and talk? I always confuse it if it's tick and talk or flip and flop.
Do you think that I have anything to do with Intel? Do you think I know anything about Intel?
No,
You would be
I'm going
wrong.
to explain in a second. Give me a second.
Okay.
So there's it basically I don't remember whether it's tick and talk or flip and flop, but basically for the longest time, while Moore's law was still a thing, Intel had this design strategy where they had two design cycles going on, where they had one cycle where they would work on revitalizing the architecture. So during one of those, I don't remember which one of the two cycles it was, but on one of the cycles, they would change the architecture and modernize it, adding new things like new caches, etc. And then on the other cycle, they would miniaturize. So they don't ever mix miniaturizing and modernizing.
Got it.
In a single design cycle. So the idea was that they would have two teams of engineers, one working on physically shrinking the system, and they would reuse the same working design from the last generation on their newest shrunk process node.
Interesting.
And
that makes its own kind of sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because that means that you're bringing working code.
Yeah, you're taking something you know is working instead of conflating the two.
Yeah, and then you only have to focus on changing the parts of the architecture that would fail due to like physics concerns.
Yeah,
that would become present because of that.
I see the advantage there.
It restricts the size of the problem space, meaning that you can alternate what your set of problems are, and you shrink the set of unknown unknowns.
Dually, Hedgeberg is the guest, and Hedgeberg is, another hacker in the space who has been a really good friend and has worked with me on lots and lots of stuff for many years now.
I mean, yeah, Turtle, you're going to take some of those hardware flaws for granted. Like, it's going to happen. Hi, Dually. I do not know you, but hello. Yeah, it's... The point being, if they did a die shrink, I'd be surprised if they did more than minor changes to the architecture.
That makes sense. What I'm really surprised about is the battery differences, which are just fucking crazy to me. Like,
yeah, well, you need so much less current to stabilize a die shrunk CPU.
So, I know that, and I know that that's true, but even knowing that...
it's still wild.
The Mariko red box units, like the ones that have double the battery life, have a slightly smaller battery than the original units.
Hey, you're right, Zacky Cat Games. I am the king of drugs.
And like the fact that it is possible to have double the battery life with a slightly smaller battery is
Yeah,
way crazier than I would have expected.
that's Moore's law, baby.
Truly.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Truly.
Crab-Rave meme, Moore's law is dead.
Yeah.
The entire SoC did a die shrink. So capacity-wise, the Mariko is about the same.
Stop saying Mariko. It's definitely Mariko.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it is, but I hate forcing vowels.
That's fine.
But
so long as you know you're wrong, I will accept it.
Huh?
So long as you know you're wrong, I will accept it.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna keep pronouncing Yydra.
That makes sense. So long as you allow me to pronounce it as a series of coughing noises, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I here's the thing. I feel bad about being wrong about Mariko because I've been studying Japanese, so I'm very aware that it's wrong.
The funny thing is that you think it's Japanese.
The designers were like...
It's an NVIDIA code name, not a Nintendo one.
Oh, that's... Yeah,
and in fact, it is named after Wolverine's girlfriend in the X-Men.
But Wolverine's girlfriend in X-Men was Japanese, wasn't she?
I stand corrected. I have no idea. I've never read X-Men.
So it's like layers of misdirection here. Because
that's really good.
NVIDIA is a Taiwanese company, but
that's very funny.
Well, actually, wait, no. If they were Taiwanese, and we were going off of that pronunciation, it would be Mariko.
Yes.
So it would be Mariko.
There are so many layers to this.
Yeah. So if it's based off of Wolverine's girlfriend's name, then it would be Mariko. But we don't know.
Yeah, okay. Here's an actress who played Mariko in a movie. So yes.
Oh god, that second image. That's such an awful design.
She was Wolverine's love interest while in Japan. There we go.
So here's the thing, though. Do you think then the folks at NVIDIA call it Mariko or Mariko?
Good question. Halverson256 asks, wait, what's the capacity of the new battery? One sec. I have this in a file somewhere. Source boot battery parameters. Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong one. It's,
original Switch was 3,300 milliamp hours, I believe, or 3,500. And I believe that the...
So, this original is... I only know the numbers that are via full cap and, like, the hard-coded parameters in decimal. The original has a capacity of, like, 0x2400, and the, like, Mariko battery that they're using is, like, 227A, or 1C20, actually. 1C20 is the one for Mariko, sorry. So it is actually 1C20 over X2476. The battery is 20% smaller.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So, Fevendale, to understand this, you have to understand. So there's some background here, which is that Cyrus and I both have some background in Mandarin.
Yes, I am fluent in Mandarin.
I am deeply out of practice, so my Mandarin right now is bad. But Mandarin and Japanese are relatively similar in terms of...
Citation needed.
Huh?
Citation needed.
Fuck off. Wikipedia ass. Point being, though, NVIDIA is a Taiwanese company. Taiwan, the standard language in Taiwan is Mandarin. So, but the name Mariko is a Japanese name. And so there are similar phonemes that make up both languages. but there's some key differences. And so
Ooh,
in
I see that
Japanese,
you use the correct pronunciation, phonemes, instead of the enlightened pronunciation, phonemes.
phone memes, yeah.
Yeah, phone memes. Continue.
Oh, you're talking about the reverse engineering. I thought you were talking about our discussion of Mandarin versus Japanese and the ri versus rit.
I was, unless you're talking to someone in chat now.
No, yeah, Thievendale said I don't understand any of this, and I was explaining. I thought he was talking about the Mandarin versus Japanese,
That's pretty
but
funny.
he was talking about the code reverse engineering.
Yeah, so for the first time, we finally have access to the trustzone code for the new system on a chip die shrink, and I am going through and labeling it and differencing it against the code that we've had for forever.
Hey, Misson.
Hey, Masan. So this unmaps the identity mapping.
We could probably both be correct in terms of whether it's Mariko or Mariko.
Yeah, that is probably true. That's very funny though, just to be clear.
Yeah. Because I guarantee you, the folks at NVIDIA did not pronounce the RI as D.
Oh hey, here's another difference. They have a special GPU carve out that they write magic numbers into DRAM for. And one of them is the SKU info, or the chip ID. And the difference here is that the chip ID is now 214 instead of 210, which makes sense because this is the T214 and not the T210.
Ow. Damn it. I funny boned myself on my door.
Have you considered having a funny bone?
Yeah, just chop off my fucking arm. Ow.
Ugh, I'm sorry.
That.
Yeah, no, that shit sucks.
Ugh.
That shit deeply sucks.
I should close my door when I'm trying to stream.
I don't believe in doors.
Huh?
I don't believe in doors.
I've got this big closet behind me that I have with flammable chemicals and beakers, and I lean back when I stream, and I am quickly realizing this is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's how you die, Hedgeberg. Not to put too fine a point on it.
Yeah. I should figure out a better way to store these.
You should. Not to put too fine a point on it, but you really should.
Yeah. Keenan, you understand that a hand is a cup holder, right? Arms already have cup holders.
I disagree. A hand is not a cup holder. A hand is not a home.
Are we going to get into the philosophy of what constitutes a cup holder?
Yes. Unless you're not interested in engaging on the topic.
I'm too tired because this is going to devolve into what counts.
Yes, it would.
No, fortunately, Metaconstruct, I do not have if I were to mess with RFNA, I'd want Fume Hood.
Not to
that I could store it in.
Not to pull rank here or anything, Hedgeberg. But yep. There's a good reason why I would know more about cup holders than you would, and it is because, unlike you, I vape. I know what, you do vape. Never mind. I forgot that you vaped. Never mind. I was wrong.
Damn, king of drugs. What does vaping have to do with cup holders?
Well, you need a very high IQ in order to vape, and so I was going to point out that my IQ is higher than yours. Because I vape. I think it follows very naturally. Do you not?
I totally just spaced out. I have no idea what the conversation... Right, we were joking about vape memes.
Yes, we were. That's a good comment. That's a really good comment, Eventail. That's really good.
I'm sorry. That shouldn't be as funny to me as it is.
No, it's very funny. It's very, very funny. Miss Sun asks, which needs higher IQ, Vapor or Richard and Mortimer? And I will say Vapor. When in doubt, the answer is vaping.
See, this is true, Zachy. I'm glad you understand. All drugs fall under my purview.
I find it likely that other drugs decrease your IQ, whereas vaping just has a high IQ requirement.
That's true. If you do drugs, you will get pregnant and you will die.
That's true. I can confirm, as someone who has observed people getting pregnant and dying.
From drugs.
I don't know about that part, but it seems likely to me given the evidence.
Yeah, Keenan. The Cyrezen's vape rig is apple juice poured into an industrial fog machine.
I wasn't aware that there was another way to do it. How else do you guarantee the popcorn lung? It's the same.
I think about the if you have sex, you'll get pregnant and then you will die. PSA a lot.
It's correct PSA.
It's one of just such a good generation of awful things. Like, I think we both went to school when they were still showing those unironically.
Yes, I believe so. I saw those.
They were awful.
So surprising, approximately nobody. It appears that basically all in package 2 loader is completely identical in every way.
At that point, it would be weird for it to not be identical.
Yeah, what I'm expecting to be very different is the CPU suspend code, since we know that they revamped that.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. Probably not as different now, considering that the die shrink hasn't made that many architecture differences.
No, it'll be pretty different, I think, because we know that they totally redid the security engine context save logic, and we know that they redid the trustzone RAM context save logic. I'm excited to see how that works.
Oh god, yeah, this is your brain on drugs PSA. Those were awful.
This is your brain on memes.
Oh man, so I went to a not to dox myself, but I went to a high school in an area of the country called Montgomery County in Maryland, which was a very, very wealthy area. And there was a scandal at a point after I was there, where a bunch of the kids in middle school had started a sexting ring.
Nice. Gotta love when those kids sext.
Huh?
Gotta love when those kids sext.
We had like an assembly speaker come to our school to tell us, and he was an FBI special agent. Nice. So you know this is gonna be fun. Because dude was definitely a lawyer and definitely was not a technical specialist.
Okay, well this sorry, continue. You're saying interesting things, but IDA has just made a terrible decompilation error, and I'm confused.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the no?
Yeah, it's saying this function is no return, despite the fact that it is 5 instructions ending in a return.
And, yeah.
Okay, well we will just label this as not no return.
Fuck up.
Okay.
So I bought a binary Gidra detects memset as a no return.
Ugh.
But it's because of the fact that in this binary memset contains a complex jump table that is difficult for the jump table model to resolve, so it doesn't have a proper return. It's like it makes sense in that context.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, this one I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah, no, that's bizarre.
Well, here's the thing, John Jaded. We had these kids got caught because they were trying to put all of the nudes they had collected on a single iPod Touch, which should give you some idea.
Sorry,
Yes,
continue.
they just
Continue. That's just very funny.
bad stuff.
That's just very funny.
Directory named bad stuff.
Oh god, that one will never not be dumb as fuck.
Pour one out for Ryan Rocks, except don't. He's a fucking goblin.
Agreed.
Anyway, yeah. So these kids left said iPod Touch without a passcode in the bathroom, and of course it got discovered, and the whole thing got ripped open in a federal investigation that made public national news. This
Sounds like a good choice.
Huh?
Sounds like a good choice.
The high school had an assembly with this FBI special agent who did not have a technical background, who continued to use the phrase electronic email. And I feel bad for that guy.
I only signed into my electronic email mail on my ATM machine and my personal identification PIN number.
This guy was in for a really bad time because he kept, like... There was this one moment where he was saying something along the lines of, let's say we've got Chad here, and Chad gets a text message including a nude picture from his girl. It was an electronic email on his girlfriend Stacy.
Nice.
And before he can finish the sentence and explain that this is illegal and that they have broken the law, the entire auditorium, which was half of the school at the time, so 1,200 horny teenagers just start cheering.
Oof.
This guy's trying to explain that they've broken the law, and everybody is losing their shit cheering for this. And there was the look on this guy's face like he was a deer in headlights, and it stuck with me.
I understand. It should stick with you. Okay, we are through PK2 loader, and there is nothing else new in it. Cool. Cool. 2 hours in, done with PK2 loader is like where I wanted to be-ish in terms of timing for this, so that's actually good. I'm glad that so much of this is so familiar, because if I had to like learn a bunch of new shit for implementing Brexosphere, I'd be very sad. The emojis in chat. Very funny.
Oh, missing. No, they weren't going to share around. They were trying to sell that iPhone for that iPod Touch for $300, if I recall correctly.
Nice, going for the big bucks.
At that time, an iPod Touch was worth $600, and this was not lost on me as a...
Yeah, that is incredible.
I remember thinking, whose money are they wasting here?
Yeah, no, that's less than an iPod Touch costs.
Was less than an iPod Touch ever cost.
That's so good. I mean, it's horrible, but it's so good.
I mean, it speaks to the level of privilege, because that kid definitely got the money for the iPod Touch from their parents.
I think it was stolen, maybe? It seems possible to me.
I mean, it was I grew up in an absurdly privileged area because I was right outside of Washington. Like, I grew up in the same town that Justice Kavanaugh grew up in.
Ooh, I also like beer.
I don't. And that's how I know I'm not I can't even make that joke. I can't.
You could, but you won't.
Nope, it just stopped in my mouth.
Also, I'm gonna go in the host for a second because I have a script for auto-labeling some of these functions that Normat sent me forever ago, so I'm gonna search I'm not gonna use the word Google, but I'm going to Google my DMs with Normat to find it. From Normat has a link.
while he pulls that up, Stevendale, you joke, but the quote unquote ringleader of that had a sex offense on his permanent record at 16.
Nice.
Speedrunning a permanent sex offense registry membership is
It's a good leaderboard because you only get one shot at it, and that time you know it takes real skill.
oh god.
Yeah.
No, we can't talk about AG Bar. My blood's gonna start fuming.
My interest in talking about work stuff while doing hobby stuff is deeply low. I hope you understand.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not even my job, and I can't really.
Yeah. Alignment, 0x80. It's odd to be doing this by hand because my loader for like normal trustzone handles this automatically by now.
I wonder how much it would take to port your loader for normal trustzone to this.
I'll do it this week. I'm not going to do this twice. I'm sure it'll be in like 4 or 5 hours. But fuck doing this more than once. I'll do it once because I've been waiting to do the stream for forever, and I think it's, you know, nice to go through the whole process. But
yeah, get yourself familiar, know exactly where the differences are.
yeah, but never again.
Actually, the real Celestine, it would be illegal for the NSA to tune in considering we are both American citizens. Unless they had a FISA warrant, and I don't think there is any... actually, no, even if they had a FISA warrant, it would be the FBI that would be monitoring us.
Yeah, it seems not like a thing.
Huh?
The warrants seem like not a thing at the moment. If there's a warrant for me, I'm not aware of it.
It would be pretty impressive if they got a FISA warrant on you with...
Yeah, I would also be very surprised by that.
Supposed to be what?
Fiendale asks, dumb question, what is all the alphanumeric nonsense going on in this thing? What do you mean?
Want to go over?
What do you mean by alphanumeric nonsense?
I think that he's curious about all of the hexadecimal and everything.
Oh.
So, Fiendale, what this is we are in the process. Well, not we. I am not doing switch.
Absolutely we. Because... You are for sure the one labeling this, and I appreciate your contributions enormously.
So this is the process of reverse engineering. So what Cyrazem is looking at is a piece of software called IDA, the Interactive Disassembly. What this does is it allows us to take a compiled binary and start to convert it to something closer to what code that a human would write would look like. So what he's doing right now is basically he's going through and looking at the hexadecimal representation of the binary data that makes up compiled code. It's not assembly, it's disassembly. Because assembly is something that is human or machine written that then gets turned into binary data. Disassembly is turning binary data back to assembly.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a mixture of... It's like assembly pseudocode, because it's not always clear whether or not a certain byte is going to be instructions or data, which is one of the things that it helps you with.
Yes. Cool. The interrupt registry is identical, which surprises nobody because it should be identical.
What would the implications of it not being identical be?
That was just that they have Mariko specific interrupts. Which they don't. I would have been very surprised.
We only know what we know, Dale.
Yeah. I know a lot of things relative to someone who doesn't know anything, but I don't think I know a lot of things relative to people who know a lot of things.
You learn what you need to figure this stuff out, and then you don't learn much else outside of that.
Yep. Yeah, it's accurate. Okay, where is sync A64 exception? And I'll core 0 and 2. Yep, that looks basically the same. This is
if you're interested in learning how to do this stuff, Evendale, you can join the Reswitch Discord and go into Hack and All, and there's a channel in there called Hack and All, and started on learning about it. And there are some great people in there who can start learning. It's a bit of a rabbit hole. Once you start learning, it's kind of hard to stop because you end up peering under the hood and you end up kind of learning how a lot of stuff that you never really thought about on the back end works.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the harder it is to stop wanting to.
Can confirm. As someone who is here years later, it's very much once you get started, you don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it very much is. I was semiconductors person before I started diving into consoles, and now this is my job.
Nice.
It's weird to think about the fact that we believe in you over, like, what, 4 years old now?
3 years. It was after the Switch released.
Right after it.
Yeah, so 3 years. 2017. It's 2020 right now. As much as I wish we were in 2021.
Celestine, the little known secret is that for a lot of people who do reverse engineering and hacking, it's their coping mechanism for depression.
Is that a little known secret? I thought that was very well known.
It's only well known among the people who are severely depressed.
Fair. Isn't reverse engineering cheating though? What does that mean, Evendale? I am intrigued by the idea that it is possible to cheat here.
I mean, in a sense, it's kind of cheating because you're knowing about things that you shouldn't.
Yeah, but that's not cheating. That's, information theft at worst. It's not cheating.
Yeah, Celestine, that's kind of, that's one of the two pieces of depression. On one hand, there's the lack of motivation. On the other hand, there's your self-loathing. And so for some people, they do this stuff because of the self-loathing, and they end up falling into a routine.
Yeah, sounds about right. Register offsets. Okay, the SMC handler routines in general. Nintendo asked you nicely not to do it. Memes.
If only they knew.
The SMC handler routines are identical. That's not surprising. The actual SMCs themselves will be different, I expect. The intended road to success is brute forcing code. Yes, that is how you exploit some things. That's how you exploit binaries that you don't have copies of. Just TSEC things. I'm so looking forward to writing a paper on that. I think that is going to be a really, really good paper.
The TSEC, the breakdown of TSEC exploitation is absolutely worthy of a talk.
Yeah. I mean, even before you get to the crypto fails that get you to the point where you can pull off -- exploit, like the whole, oh yeah, we're just gonna write a ROP chain for a binary that we don't have a copy of and cannot get a copy of thing is so funny.
It's like what the Sand Sifter talk would have been like if the Sand Sifter talk was actually good.
Yeah.
Sand Sifter. It sounds so much cooler on the hood than it actually is under the hood.
Yeah. By the way, we are at the point where it is time to label these secure monitor calls. Would we rather I go through the user ones first, which are likely to have almost no differences if they have any, or go through the privileged ones first, which will almost certainly have differences? John Jaded votes for the user ones first, so I will do the user ones first. Metaconstruct TSEC stands for Tegra Security Coprocessor. Let me see if it's even mentioned in here. TSEC, sure. There will be mentioned if it is. It's a NVIDIA bit of IP that is like the Tegra security coprocessor. I think there's a little summary of it somewhere in here, so I'm gonna check that. Accuracy control registers for it. TSEC is direct memory. Okay, sure. Glossary, TSEC. Wow, does this just not have a summary of like the security coprocessor being TSEC? Okay, I guess it doesn't, which is bad of NVIDIA. But yeah, it is the security coprocessor using a custom architecture that we broke.
Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
It really is pretty neat that Gidra came out right at the time for
Thog to make that loader for it.
Huh?
That Gydra came out at the right time for Thog to make that processor module for it?
Yeah. If they hadn't done that, I wouldn't have figured out RL78, and I wouldn't like Gidra as much as I do now.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing about the TRM for the Tegra is the like multiple revisions in which they slowly remove things from the PDF. Like the whole, okay, here's revision
1.0 versus 1.1.
Yeah, here's revision
lacking like 200 pages.
Here's revision 1.1 of our technical reference manual. The difference is that we removed 200 pages of documentation. So fucking funny.
God. I remember you guys. There was the point where like I was looking at a 1.1 copy, trying to point me towards something that you saw in your 1.1. It's like I just can't find that. That's just not here.
Yeah, you know,
I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that. I think hopefully if NVIDIA learned anything from us breaking TSEC, it is that hiding information does not prevent us from exploiting their shit.
Document nothing.
I mean, we broke something that they totally do not document at all, and we broke their security coprocessor's boot ROM despite not having a copy of it. So like that is the strongest evidence I have for it just not mattering whether or not you have a copy of stuff.
I really, really do wish that more companies would get that through their head. Actually start like release.
I know. If anything, you end up more secure if you release everything because people will audit it.
If people were smart, they'd release their boot code before fabricating.
Yes, if they were smart, they would release it and go, please audit this, and, you know, people would. Oh, fuck. Control F bypass the SMMU in the TRM. Still so funny. God, it's
just wild.
So classic. I love it.
Register is maintained for Tegra 2 compatibility. Or no, it was DMA engine is maintained for Tegra 2.
Oh, no version of the TRM documents that the AHB DMA block is there, which is why Nintendo didn't defend against it originally. That is also funny. So for context, one of our like initial exploits, or deja vu rather, like the easiest way to exploit deja vu, although there are multiple, is to use this DMA engine, which Nintendo did not do anything to prevent you from using. And the reason that Nintendo didn't prevent you from using it is because NVIDIA does not document it as being there, even internally. And it is a DMA engine that was in previous revisions of the Tegra that they did not remove from the silicon.
And as a result, there's just, there was a DMA engine that we could poke, and it acted like a DMA engine. And they just did not block it.
Yeah.
They didn't know to block it because they didn't know it was there.
Very, very funny.
That's why hardware implants are really scary. Like,
I agree.
Supply chain exploits that allow you to tinker with silicon, really scary.
Wormable bug in embedded cardiac devices, ETA when?
Oof.
Yeah. Nice. Well, they did use custom silicon metaconstructs, but they used custom NVIDIA silicon, which was developed from older NVIDIA silicon. So yeah.
Well, they didn't use custom NVIDIA silicon. The TX1 and...
Well, I mean, the TX1 is a custom piece of silicon by NVIDIA.
I mean, by that, the definition of custom silicon there is a little, because the TX1 existed prior to Nintendo's purchasing of it.
Yeah, that's true. But it's still
Like
custom
I call
silicon.
Mariko purpose built. I don't know that I'd call Arista purpose.
I agree with that, actually. No, the SoC is not different from a stock TX1, Masan. It is completely identical in every way.
With the exception of the eye patches, right?
The eye patches are new, but that's not different SoC. That's because those are burnt in after the SoC is fabricated.
I meant on Arista.
Yes, I'm interested too.
Yeah.
Arista's actual SoC is completely identical to a stock TX1. I think the only difference is that the only difference that's meaningful is they burn like a fuse or something that disables the A53 CPU cluster. And so Arista only has the ability to use the A57s. Yeah. Nice.
So, anyway, meta construct. Here's the thing, Nintendo had previously done silicon and all of their adventures into much worse issues. Like Nintendo's previous misadventures and bad.
Ooh, Hedgeberg, look at this. Isn't this interesting?
What?
So they have this SoC type enum for Arista.
Why? Oh my god.
And they, this is hard-coded to return 0 on, Arista. Which is interesting. Yeah, this function is just hard-coded to return 0 on Arista. But here in Mariko, they are reading a fuse and adding it to 1, which is interesting because Mariko is 1, so I guess they are going to be calling some other Mariko chip a new SoC type, and they're using this fuse to describe it.
So they can reuse package 1 on both, I guess?
Yep, that would be what this is for.
Weird call, but okay, guys.
Nice. I was not aware that there was a new SoC type. Lit. That's the kind of discovery you get when you go through this stuff.
Yep.
16, let's get new key generation.
You got to be careful, though, because now people are going to start theorizing about a Switch Pro.
I mean, we already know they're making a Switch Pro. That's hardware type 5. They added support for it in 10.0.
Yeah.
Like, I would feel worse about people speculating if it wasn't literally true. And no, Val, they're returning this new SoC type value despite being on Mariko, which is especially interesting because anything else on Mariko isn't really a new SoC, so I don't really know what they're doing. Because the official name for this variable is SoC type. So, you know, we live in a society.
Boys?
I vape.
Vape boys.
Okay. The new SoC type is actually interesting. I was not expecting that in there. That's cool to see.
What? Oh, the SoC type stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever think about how much rage there must be inside Nintendo right now and Nvidia? Like, their SoC just got compromised again by glitching. And it is the same glitch attack that was publicly documented and talked about at conferences before Mariko released. And the Mariko boot running,
the exploit that I used demonstration to get my job.
It is. We have code from 2017 of our poking at this exploit on Arista, on GitLab. I looked at this because I reused my signer script for. I reused the script that I wrote for you in 2017 when we were poking at this the other night.
It's just fucking wild.
I know.
It's just someone at NVIDIA.
How is it that you have an SoC where you do a new boot ROM with anti-glitching, you add random delays that do anti-glitching stuff, you check stuff multiple times, and the PKC hash, you check once instead of twice, and you don't have a random delay there? How?
You forget it in the singular most critical spot.
Yes.
That
is like the most critical spot to have it.
I had genuinely
assumed. Same.
Yeah. So we had assumed that there was, for everybody else, we've been joking about the fact that we had assumed that it wasn't worth attempting to perform that attack.
We can find quotes in our internal channels of me saying there's no point to trying the PKC stuff. They've added random delays and anti-glitching, and that is the one spot that is guaranteed to have them. It is fucking mind-blowing that they did not defend against the most important spot.
It is.
Metaconstruct. It's one thing to say that it's hard to mitigate side channel attacks, but they have random delays which prevent syncing, and they have multiple checks in other places, and they are specifically not adding the mitigations in the one place that needs them the most, despite having them elsewhere.
So to be clear, PKC check is one of the places where a glitch in boot ROM, even without glitching protections, could lead to arbitrary code execution at the package 1 stage.
Does.
Yeah. It was literally the most ideal glitching candidate.
Yes, it is the best glitching candidate you could hope for as an attacker.
Yeah, exactly, because it is a single branch.
It is a single branch, and corrupting it means that you get to sign your own bootloader.
It is literally perfect for anybody wanting to take over the boot process. It is also one of the only spots in the boot ROM that would be feasible to build a glitching mod chip for. If not going as far as...
There is a perfect synchronization target there, because you read the BCT and then it checks it. It reads something that you can directly sync off of.
I didn't take the time to build eMMC decoding in my FPGA stuff, because I could just count the number of positive edges on eMMC, and that worked.
Yes.
You could just count the number of positive edges, and as soon as you saw that last positive edge, you knew that the most was done, and you were good to go ahead and glitch. There should have been, if they added random delays, you could not use that as a trigger, and you could not make a reliable glitch that you could distribute. You could make an unreliable glitch where you would just have to hope that you landed well with the random timing, and that would be fine for somebody trying to get keys out, or trying to get...
That would be fine if you run it 1,000 times and then you dump the keys once, but
that can't be what you use for... That cannot be what you use if you're trying to ship a mod chip. If you're trying to ship a mod chip, you have to have consistent execution. And so random delays should have thwarted that, but they didn't put them in the one spot that they could have put it in.
Yeah, no, it is fucking absurd. It is... I would honestly call it the singularly most critical spot to have the checks in.
Yeah, to be clear, Metaconstruct, as somebody who has done a lot of glitching, if they had put a random delay there...
The fact that they have random delays elsewhere but not there is what is really crazy.
Yeah.
Because that is the most important spot.
They added random delays all over. There was a whole bunch of random delays specifically for glitching protection all over the boot ROM, but they did not put a random delay between the most convenient trigger
and the most convenient thing to do.
And the most convenient hit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, StuckPixel, the commercial glitch chip is of course going to fail several times, a lot of the time, because even with just trying, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's not going to be
glitching is not perfectly consistent, but there...
Also, you can get up to 64 reads there. You can get up to 64 boot attempt.
Yes, correct.
So, if they had added random delays, it wouldn't have worked at all.
Let me put it this way. It's consistent enough that Gateway only bothers to overwrite 2 of the BCTs because they do it consistently enough trying twice. Like, they only overwrite 2 boot configuration tables.
To be able to get 50% success rate glitching chip when they were trying to specifically thwart glitching is just such an incredible.
But okay, so you say it reflects that they didn't actually audit it, but we know they did. We know factually they went down and said, we need to prevent voltage glitching. And they, like, hired people to fix voltage glitching problems. Like, how the fuck they end up in this situation just fucking boggles my mind.
Yeah, it's bad.
Someone at NVIDIA is going to get fired hard for this.
I am honestly amazed that Nintendo hasn't gone publicly roasting them on this.
Nintendo's a little too Japanese for that, but I agree.
Oh, that's true. And they're not gonna get an NVIDIA apology press conference.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus, it's so bad. Genuinely, I told you specifically there is
that it was not worth
that it was not worth trying the PKC hash check because they wouldn't fail to do random delays there. And like clearly I am just like eating my own ass here, but God, it's so bad.
No, I mean I totally agreed with you. I totally agreed that if there was any spot that random delays would go, it would go there.
Yes. NVIDIA.
So Fievendale, what happened is so a bit of an explanation. The way that the mod chip in question works is that it uses an attack technique called glitching, which corrupts the operating environment that a CPU is running in, causing instruction execution to break. So you end up with things like jumps being taken that shouldn't. And in assembly, if you have a single jump that is the difference between something like failing a hash check and not loading the firmware, or succeeding the hash check and loading the firmware, you can get a situation where the hash check fails, but you load the firmware anyway, and that can lead to loading arbitrary firmware.
Dude, it's even funnier than that in this case, because like the result of exploiting the PKC is they decide that the public key you loaded is valid, and so they use your provided public key instead of Nintendo's. Yeah. So you literally sign your own bootloader.
Basically, the idea is that by using glitching, you can get past certain things. By, corrupting the way that the CPU evaluates and executes the instruction stream that it's given. So as a result, you lose guarantees about certain guarantees that you would have otherwise. So it's really hard to defend against. And so we'd assume that Nintendo had done the right thing in terms of defending against, or not Nintendo, NVIDIA had done the right thing in terms of defending against it, because they would have added random delays. And those random delays means that it's really hard to judge when the instruction that you need to glitch is happening.
Yeah, it adds randomness, and randomness makes it hard to do things consistently.
Exactly. In the very simple explanation, that is the case. And yet still, they screwed this up. Basically, the thing about glitching is that, Nintendo's software doesn't do anything wrong here, functionally. Like, Nintendo... This has been an issue now multiple times, where Nintendo has any critical firmware-level security bugs past their first OS release.
Yeah.
NVIDIA has now fucked them twice. The USB exploit was NVIDIA's fault, which is what gave us boot ROM execution on the original Switch. And now the PKC hash check, they failed to do the one thing they were supposed to do. They failed to
add the mitigation in the one place they needed to add it the most, despite adding it elsewhere. It is such a fundamental failure.
It's just unbelievable.
It really is.
Yeah, Deja Vu was NVIDIA's fault.
Yeah, although Deja Vu is more LOL, Envy doesn't document this hardware engine.
Deja Vu is very funny.
Everything about those exploits is funny. I mean, at its core, Deja Vu, ignoring the warm boot exploit, which we use for convenience, Deja Vu is like, oh hey, NVIDIA restores the security engine state from this blob, but the blob is CBC decryption, so without knowing the key that encrypts it, you can fuck with the blocks to control arbitrary plaintext and control the keys that are used to decrypt and verify the trust zone blob.
You were so proud of that. You were so proud of that exploit at the time, and so rightfully so.
I am still proud of it. Every time I get to point out to NVIDIA, hey guys, CBC decryption is not a chaining mode, which these people just don't fucking understand. It is a pleasure.
It's so good, though, because the fact that you can get arbitrary rights inside of the carve out, or you can get arbitrary control of code inside of the carve out without ever actually
without knowing the key that's used to protect it.
It's just so good.
It is. Yeah, NVIDIA. Well, you know, I really hope that N goes, hey NVIDIA, you fucked us again. And then Nintendo gets compensated because they deserve it after dealing with NVIDIA's bullshit twice.
I really hope that they got insurance or something, because I genuinely, like, they're a big company. It's hard to, you know, my anti-cap.
Yeah.
I'm not one to feel bad for big companies.
Yeah, but I love Nintendo. And you know that I love Nintendo.
Even still, they're kind of, you know, they're a corporation.
Yes,
it's hard to feel.
They are.
Like, you know, I can feel sympathy for people.
Sure.
But, like, this is one of those things where it's just so genuinely unfair to them that I do genuinely feel bad for the entity. Because this just sucks.
Yeah.
Seeing a company do so much to try to do things right and getting penalized for it.
Getting penalized by stuff that is out of their control because their partners aren't delivering the way that they should. Oh yeah, the other crazy thing is that one light that we dump the fuses from that has an eye patch that misses. How do you fuck that up, NVIDIA? So for reference, the eye patches are a mechanism for them to like patch the boot ROM. And most of the units that we've dumped the fuses from have consistent patches, but one of the lights we dumped had a bit flip in one of the eye patches applied, which turns an eye patch that patches some unknown function in the boot ROM to immediately return, causes it to miss. It's off by 0x4000, and instead it turns a panic into a invalid instruction. And the BPMP can't abort, so not only does this not apply the patch it's supposed to on that unit, it turns a panic condition into a non-panic condition on that unit.
Yeah, meta construct. We're not sure yet what exactly get us.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if we find out that that's software exploitable on that unit in particular. Although, who knows?
And that would mean that we would get a boot ROM.
Yeah, but that would have to be on that device in particular, and we don't own that device. Hopefully on my light, we will find the same thing. Load old master key. Yeah, I don't know how you fuck that up. That one was really mind-boggling to me, is the missed eye patch on that light unit.
I think it's probably that their eye patch flash didn't...
It was probably like a random bit corruption when executing during their fuse burner, yeah. But the fact that can happen with enough likelihood for us to observe it on the, like, 3 fuse dumps we have, that's bad.
That or we somehow got... Sir.
Yeah. Very funny, though. I have not tried politely asking for the unit. I will wait to politely ask for the unit until we verify if it's exploitable. But given the person like reached out and asked if they could help me by dumping stuff, I suspect that we will not have issues if we need it. Most people are like pretty cool about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so long as you can... I mean, hell, if you offer to replace it...
Yeah, no, I mean, if that unit turns out to be vulnerable to something and I'm like, hey, it would be really valuable to me, I will send you 2 switches in return. I'm sure it'll be fine. But we will...
Yeah, people in this... There's a lot of bad in this community, but there's some people really genuine.
People are generous.
Depending,
yes. No, Kitlet, the NVIDIA manufacturing process runs this like fuse burner payload um, on each unit individually. Like it executes on the device. It's not like fuses are burnt by a PC. They're burnt by a program that runs on the switch itself.
Yeah, you would need to somehow have access to. You would need to somehow have access to read contents of the chip as though the EEPROM isn't enough.
Yeah.
There isn't enough I/O on the chip for that to be feasible. So the way that fuse burning is done nowadays, you burn fuses by running actual the target.
Being clear, I expect the Mariko boot ROM to have no software vulnerabilities. That is my expectation.
Oh, I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. He says, looking at the list of things to test. Ugh.
Because if you're not right,
it'd be
Nintendo
deeply
is
unfortunate.
going to have.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where after this they go to Intel to have Intel design.
Please no, I like my ARM chips. No Intel chips in my consoles, please.
Intel makes ARM chips.
Do they? Never mind, I'm fine with them now.
Intel X Scale is a thing, and it is weird.
Friendship.
Because it is an ARM chip made with like x86 bullshit.
Friendship ended with NVIDIA. Now Intel is my best friend.
Doug Bowser. It's fun to think of Doug Bowser shaking hands with in that image.
What a meme.
Seriously though, Intel makes the X Scale, and the X Scale is because it is an ARM chip with a South bridge.
What?
It's weird. It's really, really weird.
Because ARM chip with a South bridge.
Yeah. Right?
That's a new one. Wow. Okay. We do live in a society.
It is. It's. Yeah. No. It's as weird as it sounds. Val. It's like all of their flash chips are controlled off of this like front side bus, and so trying to figure out how things are read into memory is basically impossible, because it is not like there is some level of exposure in terms of the internal hardware and how MMIO translates to hardware interactions. All of the MMIO translates into Southbridge calls. So it is effectively an ARM CPU with x86 MMIO mechanic.
Because Intel is the answer to that, probably, Val?
Yeah, Val. The only answer is Intel.
That is so funny.
It's really weird. But I don't know if they still make X-Scale chips, but Intel was making X-Scale for a while, and it was a thing.
What a meme.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking wild. I'm not gonna lie. Trying to read that data sheet was awful. Like, doing low-level stuff on x86 is already bad enough. I think that they didn't see ARM as a competitor. Seriously. Like, I think Kitlith, this was before they thought they'd be a real competitor, and they just saw ARM licensable IP core microcontroller. A cheap way to get around having to design new low-level
It is really interesting to me how much of their like lead Intel is just blown in the last decade. Right?
Because how are they going to not?
In the mobile space, well, ARM is the king now. And in the desktop space, they are just getting dabbed on by AMD all the time.
Agree. I don't agree.
Really?
Huh?
Really? What space do you think Intel is doing better in desktop?
Intel's desktop cores are still, like, they are more expensive, but
they're not more expensive.
What?
Oh wait, they are more expensive. You're right about that.
Yeah, Intel cores are more expensive, but like, the peripheral features that you get on an Intel x86 core are really, really significant, especially if you are in an enterprise. If you're a home user and you're not, concerned about like Intel vPro and shit, yeah, sure, AMD's more cores for less dollars. Past that, though, AMD really is not doing much better.
It's an interesting perspective because it is not what I observe, but you probably know more than I do.
Also, Intel doesn't care. Like, Intel doesn't care about the, SIMD stuff as well. Also, Intel just doesn't give a shit about, Intel just doesn't give a shit about the consumer market for the most part, being honest.
That also makes sense. They're a little
Intel,
like ILFAC in that way.
Huh?
They're a little like ILFAC in that way.
Not like ILFAC, though, because they have, data centers that, thrive on Xeons.
Sure.
And the margins on Xeons are big. That's where Intel makes most of their money, is that data centers need to buy a new wave of Xeons every, 2 years.
Hmm.
Also, for, high assurance stuff, if you're in a I wouldn't use AMD cores.
That's very true. Yeah, no, you're right about the secure case. AMD PSP is kind of a meme. I mean, the management engine is also a meme, but the AMD PSP is very much a meme.
Yeah, no. I keep seeing people thinking that because of the fact that there aren't a lot of exploits on the AMD cores that are available, means the AMD cores are more secure. And it's just because no one targets them. People start taking AMD cores really seriously.
Hey, Hedgeberg.
What?
Did you ever hear about how Mac OS doesn't have viruses?
Motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same shit, right? It's just that no one uses Macs, so no one writes viruses for Macs because they're low return.
And then WebKit and then.
Oh yeah, Apple, and then as soon as Apple starts making software that people use, they get hacked all the time. iOS is so funny because it just blows the hole in the Apple doesn't have bugs thing.
People still think that I constantly have to explain to people that OS X and iOS are not secure. Correct. And people do not listen to me because they are so convinced about Apple's good reputation. But Apple's code verification processes are awful.
Yep.
I was a TA. I was a TA at Carnegie Mellon University, #1 in the country for computer science, one of the biggest schools that Apple hires from. I had a guy who they had offered a position to, who told me a story about how he almost wound up getting code introduced into the mainline release kernel that in certain cases could completely lock the operating system that nobody caught until the very last second.
Nice. That's how you want to do it. If you're going to introduce bugs, go for the big boys.
And this is a guy had a job offer from Apple.
Well, I have not high confidence in Apple's job offerings. Memes, though.
No, I think he's using newest IDA Pixel.
I am using newest IDA. I share IDCs. I share IDCs which people can use, and also you can load this in older IDA anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It is a complex code base that is full of bullshit. It's just that's what's going to happen if you don't use a microkernel in your mobile device. Your kernel is going to be too large to be secure.
Yep. Meanwhile, Nintendo's kernel continues to have no security bugs.
Yeah, and NVIDIA continues to have.
Yeah. Fucking NVIDIA. Why is it not giving me the nice demangling type names? Oh, right. Options, general. No, it'll be like options demangling or something. Demangled names. Show demangled names as names. Okay.
Night Metaconstruct, have a good one.
Options. What do I have it set to here? Comments. Oh, assume GCCV 3.x names. That's probably it. There we go. Okay. Also, I guess I do want it as comments. Also, it is like deeply unfortunate that I'm going to get like no sleep tonight. I can feel myself tired, not having slept enough this week, even by my standards. I have to be up at 6, but yeah, duty does call.
I think that would be pretty cool, Val. But I don't think that's going to happen. Actually,
Missan says, while you're changing settings, align your windows. Nah, I don't need to align my windows. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Val, the issue with that is that if you tried to actually kind of serious low-level hardware interaction, like dealing with modems or whatever, you'd lose all of the security guarantees because modems are a nightmare.
Correct.
I am amazed that there aren't more people that attack phone modems, frankly. Like, no phone is ever going to be secure as long as it's connected to LTE. Period.
Yeah. Now I'm in that weird state where I like know that I am tired and that I'm going to get substantially more tired over the next hours, but it's fine. I have at least 2 more hours of streaming in me, and we'll be done by then. And then I have other shit to do after this, and then I have Pokemon at 6 a.m. So it's just one of those days. It's rare that I get...
topic of modem.
It's rare that I get tired, but this is one of those days.
Yeah, I know what you mean, where you just start, the burnout, you can feel it.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Anyway, on this topic of modems being attack candidates and such, for anybody looking to secure something, don't put things that you want to keep secure on devices connected to the internet. Don't do it.
That's why I keep all of my. That's why I keep all of my secrets on AWS.
We should have a conversation at some point, actually, about a certain thing about AWS and security that I find very funny.
Okay, I'm on board for that. Maybe on one of your streams in the future?
Huh?
Maybe on one of your streams going forward?
Oh, no, this isn't something we can talk about on a stream.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay. I am still fine with this either way.
I'm sure that there'll be plenty of other things to discuss in the future, just this.
Yeah, I understand.
But, yeah.
Memes.
Yeah. It's just... No. Nintendo definitely is smart enough to not stick their current keys on AWS.
Correct.
Like, without anything to base this on, I'd be amazed if Nintendo did not their signing keys for their firmware payload.
Their signing keys are only inside HSMs. We know actually from like SDK and leak stuff that they use Luna HSMs.
There you go. You don't put things that you want to keep secret on things that are connected to the internet. You just don't do it. It is the only way to keep things safe.
I really hope that Nintendo has to do a key ceremony in the next 5 years and that I can buy tickets to watch it.
do you think Nintendo would give you key ceremony tickets?
Maybe if I asked very nicely and promised to be good.
I wonder if you could. I wonder if you could pitch it as being a third-party auditor.
I wish.
Like
Also,
that might actually. Like I say that because that might actually work.
what a meme that would be. God.
So Gren, a key ceremony is when you swap out the physical keys on a hardware security module, and you know go through this whole complex rigmarole to make sure that nobody is alone with the keys on their own prior to the new keys being introduced. So like basically, like, have you ever seen like or actually here, you know what? Did you if you haven't watched McMillions, which is a documentary on HBO about how the McDonald's Monopoly game heist was happening? It's a really good kind of primer on what you need to consider when you're doing that kind of corporate security, because like they went through
Also,
all of these
Pittsburgh,
security procedures.
keep talking. Huh? I'm going to get up and make myself more caffeine because Jesus, I can feel this hitting me. Keep talking.
Yeah,
I will just be. You'll probably hear my coffee machine in the background.
Sure.
But it is a requirement at this point for me to continue.
Sure, I'm going to piece in just a little bit, but I'll wait until you.
Yeah, cool.
So basically, Gren, what happened in McMillions was in early 2000, there was if you remember the McDonald's Monopoly games, there was not a single legitimate winner of the $1 million tickets, and this was why, because the company there was. I won't spoil it for you, but basically, they had all of these systems in place to try and make sure that no one ever had sole access to the tickets. So the idea there was that you could make sure that every single step of the process during which the tickets were available to people, between when they were printed and when they were put on cups and shipped out, they were monitored by at least 2 people from separate organizations. But they made some critical fuck-ups that are really interesting. And basically the secure printing process that's laid out in that is kind of like a blueprint for the way that key ceremonies work. Basically what you do is you have some combination of methods to make sure that no one has the entire information prior to it being loaded into the HSM, so that no single person being a bad agent, by bad agent I mean
malicious actor.
Yeah, malicious actor within your corporate structure.
Yes.
So like the another term could be like evil maid. Like basically, you don't have a bad actor within your attack model, or if you have a bad actor within your attack, this prevents said bad actor from getting all of the information needed to derive the keys. And the idea is that you want to make it sure that there are as many people as possible watching that to maximize assurance that the key information is as secure as possible. And that is a key ceremony. And for, some of the biggest companies, they're a huge rigmarole.
I want to attend a Nintendo key ceremony, and I want there to be cupcakes.
That would be interesting.
That's my stance on the matter.
I have heard some legends about ICANN's key ceremonies.
Mm.
And the fun thing is we have no way to verify if they're true or not.
By the way, fun trustzone sealing bad optimization here in this code I'm looking at right now.
Bad optimization, you said?
Yes. So this is importing an RSA modulus, which takes in some integer index for which modulus to import and copies it into an array. They use int here for the size instead of unsigned int. And that means that the compiler does not know that it's bigger than 0, and so it has to do all of this garbage to cap it between 0 and 256.
To prevent, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeesh. It's a bad mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they're using int instead of unsigned int, and so clang does not optimize it correctly. I have this macro that I added, ams assume, which is basically if condition built-in unreachable, that I use to not get this shitty output. They could probably do the same thing, but they just really shouldn't be using int, is the real answer.
Oh, but that would be smart.
That's true, but we are working with Nintendo, not NVIDIA, so smart things are possible. They are possible.
Yeah, but everybody's going to make mistakes.
Everybody's going to have those days.
Huh?
Everybody is going to have those days.
Nintendo's just gotten very good at figuring out how to make sure it's mistakes. Which,
yeah,
props to them, frankly.
I agree. I totally agree. Dude,
I probably need to get going.
I understand. I've got an that was a Hannah Montana joke. Thank you, Fried Keenan. I have got an. What'd you say? Just there getting it.
I mean, I didn't know that it was a Hannah Montana joke. I'm wondering how everybody knows that those jokes are a thing. Like,
the answer is that Fried Keenan watches Hannah Montana.
Huh?
The answer is that Fried Keenan watches Hannah Montana.
So here's the thing. Like, you know, people can watch whatever TV shows they want that week.
Citation needed.
I missed so many cultural references because I did not have cable as a kid.
Well, the Hannah Montana wasn't really when we were kids. That was later.
Yeah, but I didn't have Okay, I did not have cable TV until junior year of high school.
Yeah, it sounds like that. You went wrong there. You should have had it earlier.
Tell my parents that. I didn't have a DVD player until I think my last year of middle school.
I remember when I was young, we had we had this special. When I was young, we had this like special tool for recording stuff onto tapes that we could play back on a custom VHS player. And so there are videos of me as a kid recorded using that. My family was very early onto the digital video, or analog video game.
Yeah, Ketlith. So the idea would be that, you know, they would. One of the things is that you would make sure that, like you know, you can drum up a key ceremony, but one thing that you would do is you would probably have, you know, the computer that's hosting the HSM also generate some random element.
Yes.
To add entropy, to prevent, you know, related key attacks from being a thing. There are things that you can do to add protections from everything. Basically, you go through your threat model and you think about every feasible attack and you take steps to try and make sure that that attack is not.
Yeah. What a meme. I love key ceremonies. I really hope that before I die, I get to attend one that Nintendo holds. That's my dream.
My dream is to see Earth from once before I die.
Have you considered looking down at the ground? Seems like you could fill your dream at any time.
I said from orbit.
Well, there's one way to do it. You won't be able to come back, but you know.
I could be like steam-powered rocket guy.
Yeah, who's the guy who killed himself doing that? God.
Huh?
Who's the guy who killed himself doing that?
Yeah, the Daredevil guy who died Earthers for money.
Yeah.
Pour one out.
Not one. Not worth.
Huh?
Not worth.
No, dude, it was totally worth it. Dude was an impressive rocket engineer for having no professional background.
Interesting.
Like, he built rockets that worked remarkably well and did not use combustible propellant with no formal rocketry background.
Oh, sorry, Hedgeberg. Your dream is bad, and I'm not sure that we can be friends
you're looking
anymore.
back at the Earth. You're not looking out.
No,
obviously.
no, but you're going up into the sky, and we do need to cleanse the Earth of Skywatchers.
Are all pilots astronomers?
Debatable. Some of them should be considered for feeding to the crocodile.
Okay, considered, sure, but if pilots are crocodiles, we've got a problem.
Pilots are not crocodiles. Pilots are crocodile food, possibly.
Okay, are we considering that pilots are crocodile food here?
Possibly. It depends on whether or not they're practicing astronomy. They do spend a lot of time looking at the sky, and that's very suspicious.
Stuck Pixel. So the thing is that if you read between the lines, the custom rocket guy had been doing the rocketry stuff before he ever got involved with the Flat Earth folks, and it started becoming expensive, and he was saying that he didn't have enough money for it. And he didn't do launching for a little while, and then suddenly he said he believed in Flat Earth, trying to test Flat Earth, and got a bunch of money.
Oh man, was he scamming the Flat Earthers for money? That's fantastic. Yeah. That's so good.
Like, everybody thinks he was a real Flat Earther, but if you read between the lines, dude was definitely playing them.
That's awesome.
It's legendary, and that's why I say pour one out.
I will think about him when I think about all the people I miss. We will never have another Harambe.
He's an astronomer.
That's true.
Seriously, what's the source on that, though? Like, what is the...
Dude, you know, the sky is just bad, man. I'll talk to you about it later. It's a meme.
One day I want to understand this, but, whatever. Yeah, no, it's pretty great. And I feel bad that he's going to go down in history as being a flat earther, because like, to be clear, this is reading between the lines. This was never expressly said, because...
No, I agree. If he was running low on funding and then suddenly he's doing launches again...
After saying that he's a flat earther, he's definitely running them. Definitely.
No, Valiant Storm. Exosphere might be in dangerous territory, but the atmosphere is what protects us from the evil reaches of space.
The exosphere is definitely space.
I agree. Exosphere probably needs to be fed to the crocodile.
You need to be fed to the crocodile, Mike.
I won't deny it. I will face my duty. Let me know when my turn is scheduled, and I will gladly feed myself in the name of preventing astronomy.
Granted, probably pretty badly, considering,
Oh man, that is... How do we end up with all of these memes? Like...
Sony just being abysmal.
How do you fuck that up? Oh, here's another case where they're using int, by the way. Every time you see this, like, inverted to negative whatever, and then if it's not equal to when it's negation is bigger than negation, that's them using int when they shouldn't. They lose, like, a substantial amount of instructions to that. They lose a substantial amount of text space to that.
I'm really impressed by the degree to which you've played with the compiler to have that idiom memorized.
I have spent so much fucking time looking at the output of CLang and trying to figure out what C++ produces what assembly.
Do you call it CLang instead of clang?
Yes, it's CLang.
I mean, yes, but it's clang.
Yes, but it's CLang.
But it's onomatopoeic.
I don't believe in onomatopoeia because, as someone who does not have an inner monologue and does not have audio in his mind, there is no such thing as necessarily correct pronunciations.
No, of course there's no such thing as necessarily correct pronunciations, but that doesn't mean you have no use for onomatopoeia.
Name one time I ever need something to sound the way that it reads.
If you describe a sound?
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to describe a sound to somebody else, like if you're trying to, like, explain to a mechanic...
This is what audio recorders are for. We live in a post-need to describe sounds.
Are not as sensitive to the human ear.
I disagree. The human ear can only see in 60 FPS. 30 FPS, my bad.
That was a hell of a statement right there.
It's a true statement. You might hate me, but it's only because I speak the truth, Hedgeberg.
They hated him because he spoke the truth.
It's true.
I cry every time.
I forget. Have I made any Harambe jokes on this stream yet? I think I did.
No, but Harambe jokes are
You might say they're but that's only because you don't miss our dearest gorilla.
No, I mean, I will take my dick out.
That's true. Okay, Misan says I mentioned people I miss. Great.
But, no, it's just, Harambe wound up getting kind of mixed in with racism.
That's true.
And it just sucks. It just sucks because, like, Dicks Out for Harambe was so funny.
Poco says, you've been doing this for 3 hours. Is there any way to automate the process in IDA? I have some of it automated for the Arista trustzone binary, but that requires me to know what the binary is doing ahead of time. I will probably automate some of it next time, but this is going to take me, like, probably 4.5 hours total, and it usually takes me, like, 3.5 to label a secure monitor.
I think I'm going to peace out. I'm going to go peace out. Hit the hay.
Good rest. Don't die. Don't do astronomy. Yeah. Stay safe.
I'm going to, at some point on my stream, I'm going to rig up a radio
At that point, I will advocate for your being fed to the crocodile. I will.
Going to have to kill me.
I will do it. Don't think that I won't.
I know you will, and that will be how I will want to die. Let me be here.
That's
I am
very
hoping
fair.
that I will be in my grave because you have killed me, personally.
Well, it wouldn't be me. It would be the crocodile, but yes, in spirit.
No. I'm not going into the crocodile alive, Mike. When I die, it's going to be at your hand. Are we clear?
We may or may not be clear. I can't confirm, but
Mike.
I'll take it under consideration.
Mike, I need a promise from you.
I don't promise anything that the crocodile is involved. I'll kill you, but I can't promise that it won't be via the crocodile.
Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me.
Yeah, you and me both, man. You and me both. Okay, CPU on is the same as expected. CPU off will probably be the same, but CPU suspend is going to be where all the real meat of the differences are.
A-dubs, crocodiles don't have any thoughts on astrology. They are simple creatures.
Yeah, they only care about astronomy, and they hate it.
Lost you there. What was the joke?
That crocodiles hate astronomy? That is the joke.
Crocodiles can't look up. They don't have the muscles.
And yet, they kill astronomers.
They are intimidated by the concept of up.
They just have a very good sense for what is and isn't dangerous. You ever just wake up and think, man, I really hate Skywatchers? I think Hedgeberg went to sleep. I hope so. I really hope that was the last thing.
No, I'm just trying to think of a witty retort, and I haven't come up with one.
That's fair.
Anyway, I'm gonna get going. John Jaded though, yeah, we have a fun bit of banter. Are you talking to me or Cyrus though? Re crocodile's mouth.
Clearly, I am going to die by crocodile because we've already established that atmosphere is complicit in astronomy.
Head first or feet first?
Head first.
If you were to go in alive.
Head first. I really want to know. The crocodile might get tired and stop eating partway through, and I want the very high IQ that I have from vaping to translate into a lot of nutrition for the crocodile. I think it's important.
Makes you think.
I think it's really important. Yeah.
Does the crocodile have a name?
No. It's just the crocodile.
Well, I'm going to name him right now. His name is Ares, and now he's an astronomer.
You know, I would buy a painting for real of an Ouroboros crocodile.
Hmm?
It's gigantic. It is an enormous crocodile, Val. But I would absolutely buy a painting of a crocodile eating its own tail. That would be such a good piece of art to hang in your living room.
Ouroboros crocodile would be pretty impressive.
I know.
Almost as impressive as the painting of Andrew Hussey, or the painting that Andrew Hussey bought of a horse playing football.
We don't use that name in this household.
You're as much Homestuck trash as I am, and you know it, you bastard.
I was. But we don't use that name in this house.
You never stop being Homestuck trash.
I have
You can try, but you never stop being Homestuck trash.
If my interactions with Leo are demonstrative of anything, it's that I have a low tolerance for Homestuck these days.
Yes, because you know what it means.
Yeah. Ugh.
You have a low tolerance for Homestuck because you, like me, remember it far too well.
That's true. Okay. It looks like CPU off is the same, which is what I was expecting. So now we will get to the really juicy one, which is CPU suspend, which I actually suspect to... Well, I expect it to be very different.
Okay, so I am going to get going now. Did I close my VNC session? Never mind, I need to log back into my VNC session.
Nice.
Close this out.
Please, Moose Hunter. I would love that. That is such a great idea. Moose Hunter said, someone make an Animal Crossing screenshot of a crocodile villager eating Celeste.
No! Celeste is cute.
Celeste is an astronomer. She needs to die.
Celeste is cute, though.
It doesn't excuse her astronomy.
Cute astronomers are okay.
No, they all must be fed to the crocodile.
This is mean. This is mean, and I'm going. Bye.
Goodbye, friend. Good memes. Good memes. Is Captain Hook an astronomer? It's a good question. I'm not familiar enough with the source material to know. Although I will observe, he was eaten by a crocodile, and that is weak evidence that he must have been an astronomer. People do get what they deserve, after all. The world is perfectly fair. I agree with this. It does, Val, and you should feel bad and consider yourself as crocodile food. Good night, Hedge. It was really nice having you on. That's the same. ITC send should also be the same, I expect. Yeah, it's gonna be the same. True. Also, I just realized looking at this power management stuff, I was absolutely wrong about the SOC type before. I forget that it's not the SOC type. This is actually not the SOC type. He says, remembering this an hour later, which is terrible. This is actually a fuse get regulator type. And actually, I have this implemented next here. I don't know why I forgot this when I was looking at it before. But just to correct myself, because I was wrong earlier when I was talking about this. Regulator. Oh, I guess I didn't implement it in, yeah, it's ODM word 28 infuses. This regulator stuff is not the SOC type. So I'm wrong about that. This was wrong. I'm correcting myself still. If Mariko supports 2 different regulators, 3-phase and 2-phase max 77821, I think. What is it? It is... I have it somewhere. I have it somewhere. But yeah, okay. That makes more sense. I'm going to include the number that I'm just remembering offhand. But yeah, this is not an SOC type. I was wrong about that earlier. ADub speaks the truth. Here's where we're gonna get to the juicy stuff in suspend. These are the deja vu mitigations, which they still have in here, despite this not being vulnerable to deja vu. So that's very funny off the bat. But it makes sense, being a single code base. It'll really be the encrypt trustzone RAM suspend code where we'll expect things to be very different. Let's see. Enable LP0, wake, event, det, set reboot, I2C5, I2C init, and this is going to be set PMIC. I don't know if it'll set the same register. This like triggers shutdown stuff, and I think that might be a different register. No, it is still the same thing. Okay. Cool. Fuck, that's a good line. Hey Dubs, thank you. What a great meme. Yeah, okay, they're checking all the same stuff as in reset as they do on Arista. That's expected. So we enable deep power down. The important thing to remember is that if you ever find yourself fed to the crocodile, you will know that you deserved it by observing that you were fed to the crocodile. You don't have anything to worry about because you will only ever be fed to the crocodile if you deserve it. Paco asks, what's your keyboard? Nice typing sound. I use a Logitech G710 Plus, which I like a lot. It's, I think, Brown's. It's a mechanical keyboard. Okay, this is the function that I'm expecting to be singularly most different between old and new trustzone. So let's find out. Yes, this is in fact very different. Wow, okay. That is even more different than I was expecting. Oh man, what a meme. Okay, sure. I can roll with this. This will be the BPMP firmware that it's copying here, which makes sense. This looks like it's the same. This is UART log, sure. Yeah, we have been doing privileged SMCs for a bit. This is actually the SMC that I'm expecting to be most different, and it is in fact super different. So this is the like context save going to sleep stuff, and you can just see that Mariko made this so much simpler. Look at how much simpler this is. Holy shit. Yeah, wow. So this code is equivalent to this, like right here. And these two will be equivalent to all of this shit. Yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah, it's disabling the Actmon. Actmon, stop monitoring BPMP. UART log, yeah, that's fine. So let's see what these do. What does this one do? Yeah, okay, so this is the context save for the security engine, which makes sense because I did that first here. See, context save. Holy shit, this is simpler. Wow, okay. So this is getting the registers, this is getting the second registers. What is this doing? Void. It's probably like set in context save mode. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Check for error impl. Yeah, no, this is ridiculously simple. Okay. Good going, NVIDIA. Okay, so they check the engine for error. They read this new register, which is clearly the like context save context. That's good. And they write stuff to do context saving operations, and then they just wait for the context save to complete, I guess. 850 makes sense because that's the size of a security engine state blob, and this is, I guess, the second security engine is a way bigger state blob. Great meme. Okay. Super simple context save. So next, this will probably be like save trustzone RAM. Oh man, that's even... Okay, this is almost definitely the TZ RAM save stuff. That's ridiculous. Nice. This is really how you do it. Okay, 528 plus 24. So that'll be at offset 540. This is the trustzone code for the Nintendo Switch's new hardware revision. 8, 18, signed int, tzram, context save, reg, unsigned, 8, underscore 544, minus 0x1c. Okay, that should still be right. Yeah, no, that is, holy shit, compare that to this. All of this logic is to save these trustzone RAM, and it's a single register right here. That is lovely. It is really lovely. Okay. Setting the BPMP vectors. This is the BPMP firmware. Wow. I knew it was going to be simpler, and I am impressed. Even so. This explains why their firmware is like so much smaller on Mariko than on Arista. Okay. Privileged. This is. Oh yeah. This is like try lock security engine. This is the right name. What a meme. Damn. Absolute meme. Huh. Yeah, antidote, it's similar. Mariko is a die shrink and like super different at the hardware level. So that's too complicated of an answer for me to, too complicated of a question for me to answer simply right now. Also, I am kind of running on vapors at the moment. Vapors. So I'm probably not going to be able to give any technical explanation about Mariko right now. I think I've slept like 6 hours in the last 4 days. I have not slept very much recently. It's very sad. Yes, yes, it is. I am unusually tired, even by my standards. Honestly, I think I'm going to prefer labeling Mariko trustzone to Arista trustzone because that suspend code is so much simpler. It's ridiculously simpler. carve out. Yep. Okay. Same. And then we expect the read-write register stuff to be the same too. I can get any version of Mariko trusted now. Yes. We have the boot encryption key for Mariko, so we can just decrypt Mariko trusted on PC now, which is very nice. Am I going to label Arista and Mariko on stream at the same time? I don't know what I'm going to do in that sense. I need to decide how I'm going to handle labeling going forwards. Thank you. I have really not decided how I'm going to handle labeling trustzone going forwards. I might only label Mariko, or I might only label Arista. Undecided. I don't want to commit myself to labeling 2 versions of the secure monitor every fucking update. It's hard enough for me to label 1. Four. Yeah, these are going to be the same tables. I'm sure they're the same. I'm not going to check right now. I will, like, compare them in... fuck, I don't want to do this. I'll compare them in a hex editor later, but they'll be the same. I'm confident of it. So, antidote. The problem is there are 2 secure monitors. There is a secure monitor for Arista and a secure monitor for Mariko. And I have fully labeled every revision of the Arista secure monitor. And we have just gotten the keys to decrypt Mariko. And I am labeling the Mariko secure monitor for the first time so that we can all see what's different. Oh, fuck. Flickering Blathers. Well, Blathers deserved it because his sister was an astronomer. But, ugh. Ugh. Yeah, okay. There's SMCs down there. There's one thing left, and that is warm boot. We got the keys 2 days ago. Antidote. We've had the keys since Saturday. Saturday evening, my time. Yes, no, it is very exciting. It's very, very exciting. I can't argue with the facts. Morning, bylaws. Same issue here. How you doing, bylaws? Wait to the crocodile. Yes. Yeah, ARM instruction set is very easy to understand. Ooh, what's this meme? Why does Mariko write to S controller but not Arista? What? Did I patch this out or something? Edit, program, change byte. No, I didn't. Fascinating. Paco, no, the firmware packages are all shared keys. They're not different for each console. How much longer do you think you'll be streaming for? We probably have like 20 or 30 minutes left for me to finish labeling Mariko trustzone. I'm almost done. Also, why does Mariko set S controller here if Arista doesn't? What makes it necessary to do here but not here? Doesn't make sense. Fascinating. What a diff comment for that, since it's different. Yeah. Let's really jump to warm boot main. This is really warm boot main. And then this is going to be warm boot setup. Do you plan to unify Exosphere to support both Mariko and Arista as separate builds? Nintendo clearly has separate builds, but we're going to do one. As Exosphere 2 already has all of the skeleton in place for me to support Mariko. I just need to actually have all the Mariko-specific code in it. But I intend for Exosphere to be a single secure monitor binary that supports both Arista and Mariko. That is my intent. Yes, Ohio. They log Ohio when they wake up, and they log Oyasumi when they go to sleep. NX bootloader is Hex KYZ's job. I'm not taking that on. Hex KYZ will do it, and Hex KYZ will enjoy it. There is no world in which I am reverse engineering NX bootloader. I don't care about NX bootloader. Nintendo's bootloader is actually pretty good, Antidote. Like, they've done a good job in general. I just don't like NX bootloader. It's not a binary that interests me. I mean, keep in mind, Nintendo's secure monitor, the thing that I'm reverse engineering right now, does not have bugs. Well, it doesn't have security bugs. It has bugs. It has no security bugs. And their microkernel also does not have security bugs. They've done a really good job of writing good software for the Switch. Configure 1, to see clear TI charger 7. Yeah, no, it is very impressive. Cool. I think actually with that we have fully labeled this binary. That should be every function-ish. Well, other than the like cold boot stuff. Yes. Okay. Excellent. 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 File. Produce file. Produce IDC file. TZ 10.0.0. Mariko. Oh, is there a function underneath validate memory hash? No. Oh, yes. Package 2 crypt CTR. Thank you for that, Misan. File, produce file, ADC file. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Documents, Secmon, 10.0 Mariko. I'm going to tweet about this in the host, which is a good thing to do. Yeah. Nintendo has a lot of good programmers. IDC. Create public gist. Okay, I'm doing this in the host so you can't see it, but I'm going to tweet about this ADC. Let me go to my Twitter, replies. I have this like stock tweet that I send every time I update trustzone. Trustzone. Man, why is new Twitter so difficult to navigate? to the gist where I pasted this. Sorry that you can't see me doing this on the host. It's because it's a star watching feed. What's on the wiki soon? Smiley face. Tweet. Nice. Okay, tweeted. Here we go. Verify that is a thing. Good. Okay. There was less different about Mariko's trust zone than I was expecting, but there was still plenty different. So, you know, I've had a good time. I am deeply exhausted, but I will stick around for like 10 or 15 minutes and answer any questions. So does anyone have any questions? If the answer is no to does anyone have any questions, that is also okay. You're pretty curious how the cold boot of the secure monitor works? Sure. Also, I'll answer Tenebrio first. DMA controllers. So Tenebrio, prior to 10.0.0, this function here did not write this system register. And the kernel configured it, and 10.0.0 made the kernel figure it. So that changed, and you know. Oh god, I will not fully label each FS revision. That's not worth my time. You can do it if you want, but fuck that noise. I will never. Fuck that. Anyway, antidote. Cold boot process. So, in the background, the boot ROM has run, and it has run like a stage 1 ARM32 payload on the boot and power management processor, which basically just starts the secure monitor. And then we go here to the CRT0. A bug in the like ARM SoC is worked around here with how startup has to happen. And then they call the init array functions. They have an empty init array, but this is like standard C++ ABI init. They are using C++ for this. And then they uncompress a next stage. And they LZ4 compress like a main payload, which goes in trustzone RAM, and some boot code, which is smaller, that goes in this onboard IRAM, or on-chip SRAM. And then, after they decompress it, they jump to the uncompressed code, and the uncompressed code, you know, sets the stack pointer to be this unused bit of TZRAM. And then they configure the like system-on-chips DMA controllers. They set up caches. They configure the MMU and set up the page tables. This is them setting up all the page tables. Then they configure the system registers and turn on the MMU. So at this point, the MMU is active, and they have an identity mapping so that they can continue to execute this code. They clear BSS for both of their binaries. They call init arrays a second time for like their second binary, which there's still nothing. And then they branch to their cold boot code. And then this is their main, which like configures hardware registers and does a whole bunch of shit. But if you are really interested in how it works, go to the Atmosphere repository. GitHub, Atmosphere. Exosphere. Go to the XO2 branch. And here's my implementation of their loader stub, which, you know, just does the uncompressed stuff and then jump code. So there's an open source reference for that. and I'm in the process of rewriting in like good C++ their other binary, and so you can look at that here. But like, if you are interested in how this works, look at my open source reimplementation of it. It is very accurate. Dually asks, sorry if this is personal and you don't have to answer. Just curious, you mentioned you're fluent in Mandarin. Did you learn it at some point? If so, how long did it take, or do you speak it natively? I am not Asian, and I am not a native Chinese speaker. My school offered classes in Chinese as an alternate foreign language to Spanish, and so I took 8 years of Chinese in normal, like, pre-university school, and then I took 4 years of Chinese in university, and I studied Chinese for like a total of 12 to 15 years. And I speak Mandarin, and I can read Mandarin, and I can listen to and understand Mandarin. I can't write Mandarin because I have dog shit stroke order, and I never learned that very well. But I can like type Mandarin, so it's the fact that I'm fine. I don't need to be able to write it. I can read it and speak it and listen to it. John Jaded asks, did you get Atmosphere working on the gateway chip? Ha 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 ha. It's been like 2 days, man. Atmosphere working on Mariko will be a like long process if it happens. That will take like probably a month or so of work, at least multiple weeks. Yeah. Terra Turn, you were actually coming in right at the end. The whole stream is me fully labeling the Mariko trustzone binary, which we just got the keys to decrypt this and finally be able to reverse engineer it 2 days ago. And so I've just produced this fully labeled database, and I just tweeted out the like public version of it. It's okay. There'll be a VOD that you can watch on YouTube that'll get uploaded pretty soon. Yeah, I have found that I, like most people who take Chinese for like more than 10 years, am interested in speaking Chinese and so getting a lot of use out of it. I like have been to China a lot, and I go to China on a somewhat regular basis. I mean, not since coronavirus happened, since I got coronavirus, and there's like international travel restrictions for work and stuff. But yes, I put myself in situations where I can use my Mandarin because I enjoy the language and I enjoy Chinese culture. Yeah, no, I mean, I found it to be positive. Yeah, Antidote, they make a lot of really good decisions. I have had to alter very little of their design when optimizing it. They have made very good choices. Yes, compression time for LZ4 does suck. I agree. XO2 is like 80 to 85% done. There are like less than 6 SMCs left to do. It is almost entirely done. The issue is just there's this bug that I've been able to track down that's really bizarre that CTCR also has no idea what's going on, and that's going to take me a while to fix. Substantively, XO2 is almost done. Pocket 2, first off, Mariko's exploit was fixed on, or the RCM exploit was fixed on Mariko, so RCM won't get you an exploit there anyway. We got the keys by hacking Gateway's mod chip. Actually, that reminds me, I have a meme. Let me show you all my meme. I'll post a link to it in the chat. It's a good meme. It is my meme. Most memes are good, but this one is mine, and that makes it a good meme. Here is my meme about the Gateway mod chip. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is my meme. I hope you all enjoy my meme. It's so funny. Gateway's mod chip's payload is like ultra paranoid. They have 2 redundant RSA signatures. They do everything 3 times. They clear memory 3 times. They check hashes 3 times. They use hard-coded hashes and 2 RSA signatures and check everything redundantly. And their DRM is fucking crazy with how much sheer effort has gone into preventing us from getting keys using their stuff. And it's all pointless. Their DRM is broken as fuck. It doesn't work. They put so much effort in, and their DRM is fundamentally broken. Very funny. Very, very funny. Fucking gateway. Yeah. Better luck with your DRM next time, Gateway. You might get it right if you try again. Probably not, since you're you. But, you know, you might. Very funny. Yes, yes. Gateway gets their DRM right, but builds it on an NVIDIA system on a chip. Yeah. Yeah. NVIDIA. Good memes all around. Oh. Okay, I am ridiculously exhausted, even by my standards, on account of my having gotten like 6 hours of sleep in the last 4 to 5 days. So I need sleep and desperately, despite having contained, it's not even the right word, consumed. I've had 2 or 3 cups of coffee in the last 4 hours, and I am like dying of exhaustion. So I am very glad to have this labeled. I'm going to sleep for like 4 or 5 hours until the Pokemon thing at 6 in the morning. Fuck me. But yes, this has been fun. I am really glad to have finally gotten to label Mariko Trustzone. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. I hope everyone has enjoyed, and good night. Fuck, I need sleep.